Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Treasures. My name's Tracy, and always here with Noel, my husband. Good morning, Mary Lack. Hello, everybody. Thank you for sharing the show. Do you guys ever think that you got a hair or something, like you could see something in your eye? I'll swear there's something on my nose. How are you guys doing today? Good morning, Kate. It is Wednesday, the middle of the week. So tomorrow is my last free day from Whatnot. So Thursdays, I haven't been doing a show. RJTX, hello, good morning. Previously mentioned, good morning. So normally I don't do shows on Thursdays. Starting next week, I'm going to be doing a Thursday show too. So starting next week, I go to 6 shows a week, or at least 6 mornings a week. I'm actually really excited about it. Wild Heart Studio, good morning. Good Life Shopping Channel, Southern Charm, hello. Hey, Liz. So I'm super excited about going to 6 days a week. It may sound like a lot. Good morning, Farmer's Daughter. It may sound like a lot, but sometimes when we talk strategy and we talk planning, I'm not one that does 4 or 5 hour shows. So if you consider somebody who does 2 shows a week and they do 5 hours each show, that's 10 hours a week or 10 hours of selling time. I can't do that. That's not one physically, mentally, emotionally. I can't hold up that long. I don't to get enough of one type of product for a curated show for a 5 hour show would be very difficult for me. So instead, I'm doing it 6 hours a week at an hour and a half, which is pretty close to the hour and a half, 2 hours, depending if it's talk show or selling show, which is pretty close to the same time. That's kind of part of what I wanted to talk about today. But of course, if you have questions, put them in there. We will talk about whatever you want. I always have some backup notes just in case, because these shows aren't super structured. Good Life Shopping Channel. My shows are always at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. on Saturdays. And then any evening shows I do, I try to make those at 7 p.m. So I like to do it at 7 and 7 when I do evening shows. My shows usually have a theme. So I do talk shows. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are talk shows. Monday and Wednesday are seller support. So while I have Lucky Sevens, that's right. While I have notes on Monday, Wednesday, I don't care if I ever get to them. It's more driven by what you guys are asking. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday are very structured. Those are my live seller collection shows. So the morning is business, and at night I do tax. And then I do selling shows Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Purposely, I do a Tuesday selling show. Tuesdays are free shipping days. It's vintage variety. So it's not as curated with the theme, but it's vintage variety. I do those on Tuesdays so that we can have them in the mail on Wednesday. We will be doing a show on Thursday so we can have it in the mail on Friday. We do a show on Saturday so we can have it in the mail the next day. So I alternate a selling with a talk show purposely to give me that chance to make sure I can ship and that I'm not overwhelmed with back to back selling. I do have help with shipping. Let me answer your first question before that. So my selling shows, Saturdays, are always curated with the theme. And this is part of kind of what was on my mind when I was thinking about today is a lot of us will come to Whatnot and we're like, okay, I'm just going to get stuff and I'm going to press live and I'm going to go. If you don't know what you're doing, and you don't have to be as, I'm very, very type A, but without some type of guide or plan, to me, it would be very difficult to source. I have rotating theme of 4 different shows. So the first Saturday of each month is a certain show. It's usually like woods and metals. Then we do a timeless and elegant. So that's our higher end, crystals and porcelains. We do a primitive and we do a glowy glass show. So it is very structured. So when you say, do I have a theme? Yes, absolutely very structured, but it also guides me. Not only does it guide me, after a while, your customers begin to know, hey, Tracy does a glowy glass show once a month. It becomes something you start looking forward to, kind of like Amazon Prime Days. Everybody knows when Amazon Prime Days are, or everybody knows if you love to shop at Hobby Lobby, if you're a crafter, when, every so many weeks they cycle through and when the yarn is on sale or when the painting supplies are on sale. So it's that same concept. It's that structure, that systematic way of doing things. It makes it easier and more efficient. And it also lets the customer know what's coming up. So I do have very, very themed or curated shows. And then your other question was, do I have help shipping? I do have help shipping, but that's only been in the last 3 months since summer vacation started. I hired my 15-year-old. She does not put stuff in boxes, but she wraps in bubble wrap and gets everything ready. And then about a month ago, I hired my son, and he comes twice. He comes on Tuesday evenings and all day Sundays now, and helps me ship. So, but up until I'm going on 3 years now, I didn't have shipping help until this summer, until my daughter went on summer break. How I need to know exactly how to switch my show to max shipping. I'm not sure how to set the shipping settings, so I can change mine. Presley's Picking. So when you're setting up your show, or if your show is already set up, so I'm just going to assume that you're just setting up a show. You hit the plus button. You know how to start a new show, like to create a show. When in your show setup, there is a shipping section. It's about halfway down, maybe 3/4 of the way down. There is a shipping section. And if there's three parts of that, you just need to expand it. On the bottom part, if you expand it, that's where you have your choices. And there's just a little button to click. Seller pays all, buyer pays all, or the reduced. And if you pick the reduced shipping or max shipping, I forget what terminology it uses, it's going to then have a little box that you put in what is the max shipping that you want to offer. So it's as easy as just finding it in your show setup. Junkie Punky, I can't do more than 3 shows a week because shipping takes me so. Exactly. And that's where I'm at. My selling shows, unless I do a raid train on top of it, which I've really pulled back. I don't do nearly as many raid trains as I used to. 3 shows a week is my max. We considered adding more, and it's not just shipping. You have to be able to source for those shows, and not just source junk. Like it takes time for sourcing. You have to build those relationships, or you have to physically go out and do it. Is it hard to sell clothes, for instance, if you usually do home decor? In general, introducing a new product, is it hard to get sales? So I'm probably not the best one to ask that. I will tell you how I feel about it. I'm starting in storage units next week. I have never sold in storage units. I have a failed attempt of going into jewelry. I've dabbled in children's books and ephemera. I am going to be bringing back ephemera. When I went into ephemera, I don't consider that a fail. I just got bored. I get very bored selling ephemera, so I just kind of was like, I don't want to do it. I was making sales. It probably would have been great. I just wasn't. I was really bored selling it. Is it wrong? Do I have am I rubbing? Okay. So I'm going into storage units, like I said, next week. Sorry, you guys, my husband's distracted me over here. When I went into jewelry, so that was a completely different line. What I would tell you about going into another product line, this is a lesson I learned. Whatever you're doing now that you feel is successful in vintage decor, apply the same business concepts to the new category. The base of what we do, the base business concepts of what we do doesn't change category by category. How you figure out your pricing, how you run a show, how you keep engagement, all of those concepts do not change by category. Those stay the same. So if you're doing it in one way and you're doing it well, then you apply it to the other category. Don't overthink it. Now, there's going to be nuances. Maybe in vintage decor, you're in front of the camera holding stuff up, where if you're doing jewelry, the camera would be the other way around. There's nuances that are going to be different, but the business concepts that you apply are going to be the same. That's the lesson that I learned with jewelry. I got too much in my head. I overthought it, and I did a lot of what new sellers do, even though I wasn't new. I paid too much for this. I can't start it at $1. This. I should have just stuck with the same model that I had already proven successful in vintage decor and applied it to jewelry, but I didn't. Hindsight's 2020. I would do it completely different if I were to go back and do it again. All right, I'm sorry I'm missing all your questions. Let me go back up. Presley's Pickings, thank you for being here. I found it not to be hard. I'm cross-category. You missed the last reselling roundtable. Oh no, not the reselling roundtable. Our last workshop, setting up your reselling business. I'm glad you got it too, and you can go back and watch it as often as you want, as many times as you want. Good life, thank you. Yes, that's what my husband was yelling at me for. Usually I can't wear like high t-shirts with the mic. It messes it up because I like to lean over. Good morning, Everything Ventured. I love discounts. Thank you for jumping in there. So Good Life Shopping Channel. Yes, if you are new, because I'm not looking at profiles or anything while I'm talking. So if you're very new, figure out how to do one first. Absolutely, I 100% agree with I love discounts. I assume that you had already had some success in one category before branching out. This is a thing a lot of new people, and even us sometimes as more experienced people, We want to do a whole lot all at the same time. And that's not really possible. Do something, do it well, and then add on incrementally. I am a huge proponent of slow, steady, structured growth, not let's do everything at once. And it's hard. It's really hard to do that because I wake up. Yes, did you need to say something? I wake up with 50 million ideas in my head and I want to do every single idea today. But you're going to fall flat. I mean, if you try to do everything at once, any of us, it's not, you can't be, what is the saying, a jack of all trades and a master at none. Get good at one thing before you do the next thing. Seems like I had a hard time selling clothes, but home decor was an easier sell. And some of that, you've got to think about the competition too. There's far more clothing sellers on this app than there are home decor sellers. So some of it is just what you're up against. And a lot of those clothing sellers have been here for a long time, have established audiences, have learned all the little tips and tricks that we learn. You know, as you start selling something, you learn the little things about it. Like, oh, when I'm showing, you know, a maker's mark on the bottom, I need to hold steady for a little bit longer than just going like this. I've never sold clothes, but I can guarantee you that there are little things in clothes that you pick up and learn along the way. Some of that is just going to be experience. No, I do not do this Junkie Punky full-time. I do this part-time. I have a full-time job. I work 40 to 45 hours, sometimes longer a week. I also travel 1 week a month, and I still do shows when I travel. Not as heavy selling shows, but I do not believe in excuses. I don't believe that when I hear, oh, well, I travel for work, or I have a job and my schedule changes. I don't believe that that's a valid excuse. I believe that if you want this bad enough, then you're going to make it happen. I do both full time, pretty much. I get up and I do a Whatnot show. Well, it will be starting 6 days a week next week. So I do an hour to 2 hour shows, 6 days a week in the morning. Most recently, I've been doing 2 evening shows. So, and then the nights that I'm not doing a Whatnot show, I'm packing, I'm doing social media, I'm doing something. I'm doing planning, I'm writing a book, something. So it's pretty much full time. But customers get used to one category, right? So if I wanted to bring in fur coats, for example, that would mean I would have to build, yes, you're going to have to build that audience. There's no guarantee your home decor audience is going to be the same clothing audience. Now, if you build up your home decor audience and you make a big deal about starting another category, I'm sure, good morning, Kelly's Place. I am sure you will get some of those people come and support you, but are they going to be long-term repeat buyers? Probably not. You will have to build up the clothing base, the clothing, not the category, but your customer base for clothing. There's always going to be a little bit of crossover, but you'll probably have different customers. So it's going to take time. This is a thing that we'll hear other talk show people or chat show people on here, and they're like, well, if I can do it, you can do it. And just work hard, be consistent. And look what I made, 6 figures. And yeah, you did. That's great. But you didn't do it from like day one. You had to build it up. It's hard and it's not for everybody. So I think there's a lot of making it look too easy, and it's not as easy as it looks. I'm sorry, are you okay? My husband is having trouble with difficulty over here. Are you okay? Do we need, is there something with the show we need to take care of, or?
Yes, I'm taking care of it.
Okay. Where did I do a workshop? So Good Life Shopping Channel. Let me pin it up here. So we just finished setting up your reselling business workshop. I thought it was hugely successful. I really enjoyed it. It is down here. So we did it on Whatnot Monday. We did 4 Mondays in a row, Monday evenings. And each week we had a different topic. We started with how do you set up your bank account and EIN, your structure of your business, legal structure. We kind of went through all of that. Then we touched on taxes and accounting and inventory and setting up all your systems. Then we talked about your first show, from pre-show all the way to after the show and what happens in between. And then last week, just this past Monday, we wrapped it up talking about shows 2 and beyond, and kind of looking a little more long-term. What are you doing now that your first show's out of the way? So that's what we did on Whatnot. That was free. Anybody that attended can come ask any questions. Those shows are 2 to 3 hours, so they were good long shows. Normally, we will multicast to YouTube. So today's show is multicasting to YouTube. You don't need to buy anything to watch it. You can go and watch it. The workshops we're doing a little bit different. I got it. Thank you. The workshops are a little bit different. Those are, I do monetize those to help me, to help fund when I am doing my talk shows each week. So that's what's down there. So if you purchase the Setting Up Your Reselling Business Workshop, you get access to all 4 weeks of those videos for as long as you want, in addition to participant guides, templates, checklists, and some other, some Excel sheets and some other tools in there that go along with the topics each week. So that's where we did the workshop. We actually have 2 more workshops coming up. Thank you so much. We actually have 2 more workshops coming up. The next one is going to be in November, and that is getting ready for tax season. And we're gonna dive in and make sure that you are absolutely 100% ready to do your taxes. We're going to walk through a Schedule C. What do you need to get together? How do you do it? The whole bit. And then in December, we're going to do a 4-week workshop on strategic planning for 2027. What are we going to do in our businesses? How do we plan for that? How do we do slow, structured growth and really lay out a detailed plan to achieve that in 2027? So those are the 2 workshops coming up. Do I use Notbot? Delta Martin, good morning. No, I do not use Notbot. My husband's designed a system that works very similar to Notbot. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's similar, where it prints the label for the customer as the auction happens. We give that for free if you're interested in it. Send him a DM. It's a file extension that you just kind of add on, and that is Zoe's T-Mod. He'll put his name in there. Somebody will tag him, and we're happy to give that out. Is Notbot worth it? Probably. Notbot has some bells and whistles. I've heard great things about it. I'm just too cheap to pay for it, honestly. For me, it doesn't make sense. I don't like paying for things that I can either do myself or that my husband can do, unless it's a huge time saver for me. For instance, I won't pay somebody to paint my walls in my house. Something I enjoy, I can do it just as well. But I will pay somebody for shipping because that saves me time. That's efficiency. So nothing against Notbot. I don't want anybody to think that I'm knocking it. I am sure it is a wonderful program. Do I have access for future workshops? I will be selling something similar in future workshops, but I don't put it up until the time of the workshop, only because the videos go up when I do the videos. We actually record our Whatnot shows. So that's part of what you get in the workshops. So for future workshops, they'll be available during the time that they're running. So in November and December. Here's another Chicago shop. Good morning. People see 2 90-minute shows, and the reality is an hour and a half is, it is an hour and a half. It's 8 hours of packing, 60 hours. Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Junkie Bunkie, she missed the question. But,
oh, did I miss it?
So this is how all started. By selling items, she was tagging every item with either stickers, or she started with painter's tape, writing the name down, and it becomes a little bit more of a hassle and time consuming to be doing that as you're selling. So what she did was I thought about Notbot. One of the sellers and Whatnot, the husband came with a solution where it prints the labels as soon as you make the sale, and it prints the person who bought the item and the item, so you know who belongs to what or what belongs to who. And so what I did was I researched it, and I realized that it was a pay subscription program, so you have to pay every month, and it was a little too expensive for my taste for what it did. So I designed my own, which basically means that every time she's doing a sale, as soon as the sale is completed, the sale is sent to the printer. It prints on a label. She takes the label, sticks it on the item, and now she can match the item to the person who bought it, and it becomes a lot easier when you pack.
I love discounts. I agree. He needs to be in a bubble when he talks. It should just be the absolute rule, but he won't.
I'm not prepared for the bubble, not with the change of the layout of the studio. So anyways, so what I did was I didn't want to charge because I'm not giving technical support on it. I offered it as is. Whatnot makes changes every so often, and sometimes it stops working. So when it stops working, I go back in and I fix it, and then I put an update. So whoever is using it, I try to let them know, hey, there's an update. You can download the update, so it starts working again. And it just makes your packing and your selling a little bit easier.
Thank you, my love. Yes, we all need the bubble. We're voting for the bubble. We need studio changes to accommodate a bubble. Let's see, Notbot, Junkie Punky. Yeah, he just answered you what Notbot is. So I want to go back to his and her Chicago shop. This is a thing that so many people miss.
We reserve the promoting to the people who rate us as well. So thank you for asking, but you're promoting by asking.
So people miss this a lot. They think going live that's your selling. And those of you that have been around for just a little bit, I mean, you only have to be, I'm sorry, do you want to say something again? I will get my sentence out eventually.
Well, there's questions that you're addressing, so I'm sorry. You don't have to purchase it. Like I said, I offered it for free. DM me and I'll send you the instructions.
Okay. Let's see here. His and her Chicago shop. Thank you. So, what we often miss when we're brand new, and all it takes is a few shows and you start to realize, is we think going live is all there is to it. But if you actually consider how often do you go sourcing? I'm sourcing every single Saturday. I do a show and I leave and I source for 6 to 8 hours. I'm constantly looking online for different opportunities, online auctions, talking to people on the phone, going whenever I'm taking my daughter somewhere, I drop her off to cheer or something. I'm going to thrift stores or whatever is in the area that I can go to. It is constant. And sometimes we underplay that because as resellers, particularly those of us like in vintage decor and those kind of categories, we also enjoy the shopping part of it. We enjoy walking through an antique mall and looking at beautiful glass or pottery or whatever it is that we may sell. So we undermine that time because we enjoy it. Just because we enjoy it doesn't mean it's not time that we're spending in our business. So when his and her Chicago shop is like, look, a 90-minute show is like a full week of work. It really is. I can honestly say when I do a Saturday show, I do an hour and a half, say hour and 45 minutes Saturday show. My son's here for a good 8 hours. It's me and him all day long packing together. So, and that's after my daughter wraps a lot of the stuff. It's not for the faint at heart at all. And this is one of the things when I talk about slow and structured strategic growth is taking all of that into consideration. A lot of us will come on to Whatnot and we're like, oh, I see these premier sellers. I want to be premier. I want to be just like that without realizing the back end of it. I can't go from selling 80 items a week to selling 200 items a week without taking into account what the time and everything else. And not only that is the ability to do it. Can you even source that many items? A lot of us start by going to Goodwill because we see it on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, and they make it look so easy. You're not sourcing 200 items a week from Goodwill, maybe clothing, but not vintage decor. You're not. So there's a whole lot into growth and strategic growth based on looking at his and her Chicago shop's comment that we just don't realize. It's just like, oh, I'm going to add more shows. It's not just adding more shows. There's so much more to it. Today, I'm just doing informational. I'm not selling today. I used to try to sell on Monday, Wednesdays. If you've been around, those of you who've been around will notice that I've kind of pulled out the selling on Mondays and Wednesdays. I tried it for, 4 or 5 months, and I never quite felt that it was working right for me. So every now and then, maybe I'll pull something out. We'll sell something fancy every now and then. But for the most part, Monday and Wednesdays have turned into support shows. And when you are designing your shows, you think about what do your shows do for you? These are funnel shows for me. They're community service. I love doing this. One, it's enjoyment. But the other side of it is they're shows are where we hopefully get an audience, maybe people that are new to me that like me, and they're like, oh, I want to check out what she sells. So it's twofold. And it's not a fully like self-serving motive, but your shows should serve a purpose on why you're doing them. What do you mean? I just got to... Did you get all those fairy lamps? I want to know what Goodwill you're going to if all that glass is coming from Goodwills. You guys behind me, I don't want to forget. We have started a new thing where we're trying to highlight handmade artists. So if you're a handmade artist, please send in any photos you have. We'll be happy. We just do a different artist every Monday and Wednesday. Behind me today, you will see Wild Heart Studio. So various paintings that she does. These are all watercolors. So Wild Heart Studio is what's behind me, what will for the rest of this show. My husband will tag. And if you like anything you see, you know where you can go and get something similar. So all handmade artists will be featured, but check it out. We did Tiny the Artist on Monday, and today is Wild Heart Studio. Alpine, you bought from me. Thank you. See, that's hopefully why it works. Excuse me. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, Liz, absolutely. Have you checked local churches for hidden gems? I found a bunch of antiques cheap for my house. I do have a couple. I have a rotating schedule. I do online auctions all the time. So I live by Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm actually about an hour from Lancaster, but the area I'm in is so rich with antiques, vintage decor, and it has the most concentration of auction houses in the whole country. There are probably 8 within driving distance of me, within like an hour, probably 20 to 30 if I was to go 2 or 3 hours from my house. So we have a unique opportunity in this part of the country to take advantage of that. So I do a ton of online auctions. But then I have on Saturdays or if I can finish my shipping on time on Sundays, a rotating schedule of antique stores and thrift stores. And some of them are the little like church-like ones that I go to. So, and it's kind of consistent. Here's the other thing. If you by going to the same places, I don't recommend going to the same antique store or, little thrift store every single week because you're going to it's not enough time for that inventory to turn over. They get to know you though. And then you can start to talk to them. Sometimes they'll put things aside for you. You at antique stores, go and get to know the booth owners. Offer to buy them out. Offer to buy stuff when they have old inventory, stuff that's not selling. This is a good way to create deeper, longer lasting relationships that produce more than just buying piece by piece by piece. What is the biggest mistake new sellers make? Good Life, funny you should ask. I have a list of the top 10 reasons why Whatnot sellers fail. So we can go over some of those. We'll talk about some of the reasons why Whatnot sellers fail and what we can do to prevent that. So don't go nowhere. We're going to do it. Question about mileage. Vintage Hive in Virginia. Good morning. Question about mileage versus gas costs. Which do you claim for taxes? Great question. So when we're looking at, and real quick, a little disclaimer. If you are new here and you don't know me, welcome in. Thank you. I am a CPA, so I do a lot of tax questions, a lot of tax talks. So feel free to ask if you have questions in that regard. But as I'm giving this, I just want to let any new people know, I do speak from a qualified perspective. I'm a CPA licensed in 2 states. I have a master's degree in taxation. So I do come at tax questions with a little bit of experience there. I do caution people about listening to tax advice just in general. You always need to verify what you hear. And the advice that I give or the answers I give are general IRS guidance, general practices. I can't advise on any specific situation because I don't know all your details. So after having said all that, every now and then I got to throw a disclaimer in there. After saying that, the question about mileage, you take one or the other. So IRS gives you 2 choices. You can take actual expenses where you're keeping track of all your mileage, all of your gas receipts, your repairs, your oil changes, anything, your insurance for that vehicle, anything that goes into the cost of that vehicle, you're keeping track of. That's actual. Or they give you this year 2 different rates that you can take for mileage. Either way, you need to track your mileage. Either way, you need to know your beginning and your ending mileage. And if you're doing mileage, you need to know every single trip in between. So you get to pick which way you want to take it. 9 times out of 10, mileage for most people is far more beneficial than actual expenses. So after the first year, you kind of know which one works out best for you. So unless you have extraordinarily high actual expenses or you drive very, very little, mileage usually works better. But that's not a blanket across the board. Again, it kind of depends on your unique situation. And because I said there was 2 different rates, I don't know if you guys heard about this. It is actually, and I get a little geeky about these things, the IRS did something Very noteworthy and historic this year. They haven't done this since the early 2000s, but as of July 1st, they changed the mileage rate. So from the beginning of January to the end of June, you got 72 cents a mile is what you can claim on your tax return under the standard deduction for mileage. And from July 1st to the end of December, it is 76.5 cents. So they changed the rate right in the middle of the year. Again, they've only done this once in my lifetime. So it was pretty significant that they did this. But think about that. 76 cents is almost just shy of $1 for every mile that you drive. That's a lot of money. I see quite a few sellers. Hello, Antifreeze. I see quite a few sellers where show glitches and freezes is a specific Wi-Fi, internet, and phone combo that work best. I don't think it's one that worked best. I think it's what you have, and it's just wherever you are. If you can do a wired connection, like an Ethernet connection, that's always better than Wi-Fi. Not everybody has that opportunity. So I think that's more just your specific location and testing things out. You can always look at getting things like Starlink. There's systems that are more reliable than other systems. That is one interesting thing. Whatnot people will wipe out sources just because the volume is so high. Absolutely, yeah. As in her Chicago shop, never have just one vendor. Never rely on just one source. Always have a whole, funnel, all different sources, because we call that in accounting, we call that vendor concentration. So think about this, particularly new people, those of you who get pallets maybe, if all of your supply comes from one person, one source, one vendor, what happens if they cut you off or they go out of business? You're done. Your business out of there, or there's a huge disruption to your business while you're searching for another source. Always have multiple sources. Thank you, Liz. Country Fried City Mouse. That's such a cute name. Good morning. Is your new seller workshop course packet geared more towards Whatnot or General? 100% geared towards Whatnot. The one that's pinned down there is 100% geared towards Whatnot sellers. I have other stuff that's more general in nature and applies to, can really be interpreted for eBay and TikTok and all of those. But that one in particular is 100% Whatnot. Good morning, Boss Nessa. Driving back and forth to her place for setup, I can, okay, let me read. So she can stay near her. I have a handmade show, selling her jewelry and helping her so she can stay near. So everything ventured, is that part of what is driving revenue for you? So you helping your friend. So I have a handmade show, hand beaded jewelry by Wicked, selling her jewelry and helping her sell so she can stay. Is it on her account or your account? Are you selling for her or are you selling for you? Part of what the IRS says about being able to claim expenses, they have to be ordinary and necessary. And then there's this underlying theme of those expenses should support the production of revenue. So it's hard to claim an expense, if it's not supporting a production of revenue to you in some sense. So let me kind of explain that a little bit. Buying labels for your Rollo printer or your Jaden printer does support your revenue because that's part of shipping your package. You can't get revenue if you don't ship the item to customers. So when you really start thinking about the expenses your business has, it supports your revenue in some way, shape, or form. If you're just helping a friend, how is that supporting your revenue is what I would ask, if that's technically, if you can claim it. That's where my thought process would go. Sundance, the ones down below, those are all electronic. So you get videos and you get materials that you can download. I have an accounting course that's geared, there's Whatnot examples, but it's geared towards anybody, like any type of seller. This is hard. This one here, the accounting course, is actually a book that you get, and you get 12 videos that go along with the book. So the one that's pinned is the only hardback. Everything else is downloadable materials. Thank you for asking, though. And I do a mix of those. I do have on my Friday shows, well, I'm out of books now, it's all electronic, but on my Friday shows, I was selling books for every quarter that go along with my Friday shows. So it's a great question because I do a mix of both. Where do people get pallets from? That is a great question. I have never bought a pallet in my life. I think it's an interesting business concept. I wouldn't be against doing it at some point in time, but I don't have the slightest idea where to get pallets from. I would suggest I Love Discounts. They buy pallets. People aren't going to tell you their sources, though. Let me tell you this. People may share some of the hints and tips in the process of like what to look for, what to watch out for, but very few people are going to tell you their sources. We have spent years developing sources. The people who have a constant, steady supply of inventory have spent years building that up. They're not just going to hand it over to somebody else. You can't get to the top without putting work in. That would be like you go to a 9-to-5 job and you ask the boss at the 9-to-5, well, how did you get to be the boss? I want to be the boss. Okay, now I'm the boss. It's the same concept. So I know it's a very honest question. I'm not getting at you, but anybody who wants to know where to get pallets, don't expect people just to hand their sources to you. They'll probably give you hints and tips on how to start building that yourself, but very few people are just going to hand over that information. And they're not being rude by not doing it. They're protecting their business. McDonald's isn't going to give away its secret sauce, right? Because then Burger King would copy it. Can someone do all the online whatnot sales solo, or is it best to have two people? Oh, Skeeters, you could totally do it by yourself. There are so many successful people on here that run solo, 100%. Now, if you have somebody else, does it make it easier? Absolutely, it makes it easier, but it's not necessary. There are a ton of solo sellers on here that are highly successful. So don't let that stop you. If that's a concern of yours, don't let that stop you. Sundance, am I still selling tickets for the one-day event in Harrisburg? So if you haven't heard, we are doing a meetup in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on October 3rd. It is it's turning into quite the meetup here. We are out of tickets. We have sold out. We have 125 people coming. We are going to have quite a few speakers there. So it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Green 13, Jeremy Green 13 is going to be speaking. I'm going to be speaking. I Love Discounts is going to be speaking. Abandoned Treasures, which is Jackie and Quincy, are going to be speaking. Dragonfly Neen is going to be speaking. So there's 5 of us. We're going to have little breakout workshops. We're going to have networking, breakfast, lunch. It's going to be a great day. Unfortunately, tickets are completely sold out. However, there are a few people who will be reselling their tickets. And if there's cancellations in the next month, I have a list. If you're interested in it, in being on our cancellation list, DM me. I have a list of about 8 people so far that if tickets become available, I will DM them and let them know tickets are available, and I will put them in the bin, and it will be a first come, first serve basis on who gets those tickets. That is the fairest way I could come up with to redistribute. I cannot guarantee we will have them, but odds are somebody's going to cancel at some point during this month. So, your neighbor gets like 3 pallets a day. My goodness, they must be selling a lot. That's a whole lot. We have 125 people coming to the meetup in Pennsylvania, so it's going to be a great meetup. I am never in my wildest imagination did I expect to sell out or sell out so fast. We sold out tickets within about 4, maybe 5 weeks. If that, I started selling them pretty early because I thought it was going to take all the way to the end of September to sell them. At one point, we had sold like 15. And I remember looking at Noelle and I'm like, if we can get 30 tickets, that would be cool. That's a nice, small, intimate group. That would be a good meetup. Never in my wild imagination did I think we would sell all 125. But here we are. So, and we have a cancellation list. Keep it. There you go. Visit her Chicago shop. If you ask me about sourcing, just know I'm most likely going to lie about it. Yep. Like I'll tell you I do a lot of auctions. I'm not telling you which ones are the best ones. I'm not telling you which ones have like the merchandise versus the high, money making merchandise. I'm just going to tell you I do online auctions. So thank you so much. I'm really excited about this meetup. You guys, I'm working on catering right now. We're going back Friday to do our not our final walkthrough. We're doing a tech walkthrough where we're actually figuring out where PowerPoint, like our screens are going to go, where projectors are going to go. So we have a tech walkthrough on Friday. And then I'm working on catering right now. So I've got a couple of quotes coming in and we're about to solidify that this week. So everything is coming together. Meetup tickets were $28, so they were incredibly reasonably priced, and I did that on purpose. Those tickets did include a continental breakfast, so like, pastries and juice and fruit for breakfast, and then we're doing a catered lunch of some sort. We're not doing, surf and turf. For $28, I'm not offering surf and turf, but you're getting more than sandwiches too. It's not just going to be sandwiches. We have some different options we're looking at. I sold my soul. Oh, Liz, why did that red chat? I have no idea what word you just said that red chatted. Liz was answering his in her Chicago shop with something I thought was okay words. I purposely wanted to price them at a price that most people can attend. I didn't want the price, and I'm not knocking anybody who does tickets that are $70, $50 or more. I'm not knocking that. But I wanted to make this as accessible as I could for as many people as possible. And the meetup we're doing, at least I feel, I've only been to I've been to 2 meetups, is maybe a little bit different because there are legit workshops. It is educational, focused in the morning, networking in the afternoon. It is not just come and talk to people. There's some purpose to it. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something with some purpose behind it. I do plan conferences. Part of my full-time job is planning, 4 to 5 day conferences. So this is something that I kind of do in real life. So I've enjoyed planning it, but it's going to be somewhat structured in the morning. We have a check-in. We have surprises as far as what you get with your name tags. We have some other little surprises coming the day of. So I think it's going to be really cool. So it's the mix of words. Okay. What else is going on, you guys? You want to hear some of the reasons why Whatnot sellers fail? You want to talk about that? So some of the reasons. Number one. Actually, let's go 10 back. We'll count down to the number one reason. I have some Afghans and quilts that are large, looking 24 polys. I'm wondering if the shipping on that size will kill any profit. It depends what they sell for. I mean, quilts, depending on the quilt, I've seen quilts going, $300-$400 on Whatnot. Quilts are super popular. So I guess it kind of depends on what it is. What's the quality? How old is it? What does it look like? All of those things. I know nothing about quilts. I just know the older, the better. And I have never sold a quilt yet because the ones I find are too cost prohibitive for me to buy. So, and 24 by 24, would you be better off? Can you fit a quilt in like a 14 by 12 by 10 if you folded it up just right? Because I'm thinking in 24 by 24, even with a quilt that's going to be pretty thick, you're going to get some dimensional weight going on there. Is there any other? So that's what I have. Anybody else, if you have ever sold a quilt or a large blanket and you have tips for reclaimed vintage, please put them in there. Let's share with each other. Did you want to say something? Go for it.
So I'm realizing that the images on the screen, they're not doing justice. The technique that Walhart Studio has for those paintings, it's really astonishing. I would encourage you to go check her out.
So Good Life, that's a great question. Is there a unit price or profit margin you try to stick to? When you say unit price, are you talking about what I'm buying it for or what I'm selling it for? So that's my first question. But as far as profit margin, for me, it varies by show. Like I said, I have different types of shows. My Free Shipping Tuesday show, I have a lot lower profit margin because I have a lot higher expense. My Saturday shows are usually, I reserve my higher end products, and my Saturday shows are far more curated. I have a lot higher average order value on there. So my profit margin, that's where I'm making the bulk of my money, is my Saturday shows. When I sell educational materials, there's a very low cost in the production of that. So that is also a larger profit margin. Overall, I average between 20 and 40, and I know that's a large swing, but it really depends on which show I'm looking at. So the way that I look at my financials is I have specific analytics that I track per show. I do accounting on a weekly basis. And then monthly, I combine everything up and I'm looking at monthly totals. I'm looking at profit and loss overall. I'm looking at my net profit with everything combined. And I'm also doing some trends and analytics over the last few months to see what I need to change and tweak. So I know that's an answer, not an answer to your question, but there isn't just one that I stick to. Okay. Hopefully that'll fix the sound. Oh, that's a good idea. Vacuum seal. I think I Love Discounts is doing that with some of the clothing they're selling, is vacuum sealing. Buying. Good Life Shopping Channel. So I have very strict sourcing rules. Anybody who's been in my shows before have heard these. I talk about them all the time because I think it's an ideal way to source. And honestly, the way I vocalize it, I'm sure a lot of people do this. They may not just explain it the same way I explain it. I just say it in a way that makes sense to me. So for my buying, it's not necessarily a unit cost or a price that I look to stay within. I have rules. I have 3 main rules that I follow when I'm sourcing, whether I'm buying one item or I'm buying a large bulk of items. So the first thing I ask myself is, do I want to ship this? If it's a large item, am I willing to incur the extra expense to ship this? Typically that's a no. So does it fit in a 12 by 12 box? That's my first question. The second question I ask myself, is this in my lane? Does this fit in the theme of shows that I do? I'm not going to pick up baseball cards and try to put them into one of my shows. That doesn't fit my lane. It makes no sense for me to buy that. Even certain types of vintage decor might not fit into what I sell. So if it doesn't fit into my lane, there's no reason for me to be buying it. That's the second question. The third question is, do I reasonably expect this item to bid up to over the price that I am paying for it? I start everything at $1. I don't care what it costs. I started at $1. So it's not about, do I double the price? I don't have to figure out pricing in my head. What I do have to ask myself is, if I'm paying $20 for this item, can I reasonably expect it to bid to 30 or more? Some of that is, past knowledge, experience, prior times that I've done comps. I never stand in a store and pull up my phone and do Google Lens. If I can't answer those 3 questions, then it's a no. Then I don't buy it. That serves me well. Then the pricing, all of your decision making is done on the front end. When I go to sell it, I can hold it up there and put it for $1 confidently and not worry about the sales price. And I don't concern myself with each individual item. I look on averages across the board, and it works for me. It's a system. It makes shopping. I Love Discounts teases me. She's like, you're one of the only people I know that can go into an antique store and just go boom, 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 grab things off the shelf without ever looking up a comp. I just pull it and put it in because those are the 3 questions constantly going through my mind. It makes sourcing incredibly easy. The hard part about that is saying no. The hard part about it is saying, this doesn't really fit my model. It doesn't fit what I sell. It doesn't fit in the box. I don't know if it's going to get bid up, and then putting it back. Because as resellers, we tend to look at something and we're like, oh, we can make a quick buck off that. I can flip that. And it's very tempting. But if it doesn't meet your business model, why are you buying it? You're just buying something that's going to sit on a shelf. The Moss Penny, you sold 2 large quilts and used vacuum sealing bags. That is great advice. Thank you guys for helping each other out. 20 to 40 cents per unit. That is low. It depends what you're buying. I'm sure there's some pallet stuff that you can buy for that price. I can't get vintage that cheap. Yes. Why sellers fail. Let's get back to that. You didn't miss it, Delta Martin. We're getting there. Number 10. So we're going to count backwards. The first one. The 10th reason why sellers fail. They don't evolve from seller to CEO. Most people spend so much time in the weeds inside of the business without taking a step back and strategizing about the business. This is a reason why people fail. It's too much time of, okay, I'll just buy stuff and go live, and not enough time of doing some reflection, higher level management. What's actually working? Taking time to think, what is working in my business? What isn't working in my business? What should we stop doing? What do we need to start doing? What am I doing next year? Not just what am I doing in this show. So many people are just focused on today's show. What am I doing today? Or what am I doing in tomorrow's show? Instead of planning for next year, instead of planning for next quarter. So one of the big reasons they fail is it's too focused in today. You go and look at any corporation. If all you have are worker bees and nobody up there at the top managing, it's going to fail. It's never going to go. There's a reason why there's higher level management. Well, when it's just you, guess what? You have to be the worker bee and that higher level manager. So that's one of the big reasons that they fail. That are the 10th reason. Let me get some questions here, then we'll go to number 9. I own an S Corp. I've owned my own business for 16 years. I've been using my main business account for supplies and sourcing. Is that right? Depends what your S Corp is. Is your S Corp in the same business line? Is it the same reselling like focus? If it is, then I don't see any reason why you couldn't do it. It's just a branch of that business. Now, if your S Corp is a totally, completely different business than reselling, you may want to look at doing it a little bit differently. That's the best I can do without knowing details, but please don't give me any personal details in the chat. But if you want to DM me, I'm always happy to talk on DM on doing a little more specifics that way. What are your thoughts on people who are just starting out selling items from their house they would normally donate? Why not? I think it's a wonderful way to start without putting a lot of money into it. Particularly things like household goods, decor type items, clothing type items. Wonderful way to start. Why throw a bunch of money into something at the very beginning if you're not sure you can do it successfully, if you're not sure if you want to do it long term? If you're just starting out and you're like, look, I'm going to give this 6 months and see how it goes, you don't want to be throwing thousands and thousands of dollars in it. You want to be very, very cautious of those expenses when you're first starting. So I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever. What about marketing? What's the question on marketing? Because we could talk for hours on marketing. All right. While I wait for you to put that in there. Number 9. I'm so sorry, you guys. Honey, can you mute me 1 second so I can cough and not impede? Thank you. Sorry, you guys. I was trying not to totally cough in your ear. You own a marketing agency. I don't think reselling is really marketing. I would talk. That's one of the ones I would talk to a CPA about, possibly an attorney, to get some structure set up a little bit differently. And that's, again, I don't know all the details, but it sounds like it's quite a different experience. And if you own an S Corp, well, you could be a single member S Corp. You may have partners, so there may be other considerations too. Yeah, look at Sue says she started on Whatnot, getting rid of all her craft stuff. You need a husband like mine. Sometimes he irritates me, and I try to pawn him off on people, but he's a good guy. He's really a good guy. You can't write a model on stuff you have nothing in selling. Correct. And I totally agree.
Just a couple of days ago, she was about to put me for auction.
Oh, yeah.
Starting bid $1.
Absolutely.
So you might get lucky one of these days.
I totally agree. His in her Chicago shop. And you guys, that's a really good point. You can't write a business model. You can't write a plan if you're just pulling stuff from your house. I don't think there's anything wrong with having it as a good start. Good morning, Hugs Treasures. Using that as a way to get started. But every single person on here should have a basic business plan. And when I say that, don't be like, I'm not doing that. That sounds too corporate. There's a basic business plan. You answer a few basic questions, like 4 questions. What's your lane? Like, what are you going to sell? Where are you going to get it? How are you going to sell it? And I forget the other one off the top of my head. But there's 4 basic questions that can form a business plan. So when you start from your house, it's okay to start to see, do I like this? Can I get in front of the camera? But to move forward and have a real business, you do have to start. Where are you going to source that? If you're going to start from your house, what is your ultimate goal in sourcing? How are you going to make that happen? So I totally agree with that statement. I really feel like if your spouse doesn't know you, you don't really love them. You know what? There has to be truth in that. I must love you a whole lot. I must love you a whole lot. Number 8, we're getting people everybody wants to hear why people fail. Okay. Sorry. We are on number 9. Number 9. This is another reason why people fail. They burn themselves out. That's pretty obvious. But burnout masquerades itself as ambition. So a lot of times we don't think we're burning out. We think we're being ambitious. We have grit. We're go-getters. We're, type A people. We're going to get it all done, which leads to burnout. The burnout also happens because you don't have systems. I think that's another one coming up here. But So number 9 is burnout. It is you come on, and I just talked about this, I think last week. You come on Whatnot and you are gung ho. How many people came on Whatnot and got so excited about it because they realized how quick and easy it was to make money on here? And you get really, really excited and you start thinking, I'm going to do 1 show a week. And before you know it, you're doing 6 shows a week. So how many people has that happened to? So burnout is real. And like his and her Chicago shop said, an hour and a half, 2 hour show is 60 to 70 hours. Like maybe 70 hours may be a lot, but there is more than just that 1 hour show. I've had burnout 4 times so far. I just take a 3-day break and go again. I would recommend structuring it so that you prevent burnout to begin with. I Love Discounts talks about a break they took that they felt the burnout. There it is, 24 hours live shows a week and burnout in month 4. And even if you're just doing this on the side, burnout can occur. So we'll talk about systems. To me, systems is the best way to prevent burnout. Systems, scheduling, and slow structured growth. If you want to grow, or being to the point of knowing where you want to get to and stopping. Some people, it's not all about, I want to take over Whatnot and rule the world with my stuff. Some people is like, you know what? I want to get to the point where I sell 50 items a week and that's it. I don't want to be any bigger than that. My life doesn't support that. And there is nothing wrong with that. Because we tend to, all we talk about is growth, 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 get bigger, bigger, bigger. It's okay if you don't want that. And I want to make that very clear because I don't think that message is said enough on this app because we're so focused on taking over the world with our businesses. It's okay to pick a size and stay at a size that fits your life. I know I tend to talk a lot about growth because that's where I'm at and that's where my focus is. So it's just easy to forget that there's another side to this. But knowing where that side, knowing that is just as important as the growth. Is if I just want to do 50 packages a week, I don't want to do any more, then maybe there's rate trains you're going to say no to. Maybe there's opportunities that you're going to be like, no, it doesn't fit. So understanding what you want, having that business plan, that structure in place is just as important no matter what size you want to be at. I do 1 show a week, same day, same time. That's what I know I can commit to. There you go. And that, knowing that, and that's hard. It's very hard for us to say no to opportunity. How many people want to turn away money? Not many of us, but don't burn ourselves out to get to it. I was just talking to I Love Discounts the other day. Yeah, it was yesterday or the day before on text. And, you know, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I know she just, Lysandra just went back to work, started more of a working outside of the home and in addition to doing the business. So I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I know you got a lot on your plate, just checking on you. And she's like, hey, I feel the same way about you. I know you're doing a lot too. And I can see it. I know when I'm reaching burnout, some of the first signs when you're starting to reach burnout is things start slipping through the cracks. Little things happen. I had a show yesterday. There were 3 items that I left the price tag on. Is that the end of the world? Does that sound like disaster? No. But that's a slip for me. That is, Tracy, you're not spending the time that you should be, that you normally would do. It's being able to recognize those signs of what burnout ultimately looks like to you, where those little cracks are, and stop it and do something about it when those signs first start appearing, not when you can't get out of bed and you're just done. So I want to help pay off our house after my shows. I'm a slow packer, take my time to get it right. Yeah. Testing Whatnot to see if something I want to do after retirement. That's kind of my plan. Maybe not retirement. I'm hoping to do this full time a little sooner than retirement, but y'all, retirement is not that far off for me. So I work a full-time job, have family, try to do 2 to 3 shows a week. And here's the other thing. We will look at people on Whatnot, and there's a few that are very open and honest and tell you everything, tell you about their shippers and their warehouses or whatever it is, their situations. But 9 times out of 10, when we see somebody, we have zero idea what's behind the scenes. We have zero idea if it's them packing off 400 items they just sold in that 6-hour show, or if they have people. We don't know how they get stuff to sell. I'll look at other vintage decor sellers who are selling 300-400 items a show, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. I want that type of experience. But then I'm like, that's not my reality. I work full time. I can't go and source 400 items a week. So we don't know the behind the scenes. All we see is the success on the screen. This is somewhat of like a social media. People don't put the worst on social media. They put the best. They put the best face forward. So we have to keep that in mind when we look at people and we're like, oh, they're so successful. I want to be just like them. Your first show this Saturday. Congratulations. DM me so that we can bookmark and try to get there. I can't promise, but we will try. It is Kelly Flip This. What's the range of what someone who does decent job at maybe 2 shows a week can realistically expect to make? What's a good show? Good Life, that is going to vary drastically. There is no one answer for that. My good show could look like a terrible show to somebody else, or my good show for somebody else could be like, oh my God, I would never make that much money. I can never do that. It depends what you sell, how you sell it, how long you're on, the people in your room, what your average order value is. There was a time when I first started on Whatnot 3 years ago, my goal wasn't even to make money. My goal was to show my items 2 times. And if I did that, if I showed everything I had at least twice, that was a successful show for me. Then that turned into, okay, if I can make $50 this show, that's success. And then it grew and grew and grew to where now I have completely different goals. So there's just no answer for that. Tramelto says, I have no idea how you do shows 6 days a week, a podcast, and a full-time job on top of raising a teen and having a husband. I am not Superwoman. I just structure it. I look at my time and I structure it. He wants to say something. I don't know about that, but.
You're going to like this. You're really going to like this.
What are you doing? There you go. Kelly Flip This. First show this Saturday, y'all. Can you go flip over to shows?
Yeah, but look, vintage, pottery, rusty, crusty.
All kinds of stuff.
Right up the alley, right there.
6 p.m., y'all.
So if you're so inclined, go ahead and give her a bookmark. Check her out. Fresh show, everybody.
Thank you, my love. So Tramelto, also, I work from home. Here's one of those things that many people may not know, but behind the scene things. I work from home. My full-time job is from home. I don't have commute time. I only have to look good from the waist up. I can wear sweatpants. I don't have to get dressed up. If I don't have meetings, I don't even need to do my makeup. So I could take a lunch break and go pack stuff for 30 minutes and then go back to my desk and work. So again, this is one of those examples of, it may look like I'm doing a whole lot, but I have other opportunities here that are allowing me the space to do that. Bookmarks don't seem to matter. I've had a lot and still slow. Okay, Trip Treasures, let's talk about that because bookmarks do matter. And there was a point in my journey here that I thought bookmarks didn't matter also. They do matter. Now, is everybody going to come to your show? No. For me, I estimate when I'm looking at it based on the bookmarks and people that show up, about 30%. So if I have 100 bookmarks, I can expect a show of about 30 people on average. Bookmarks matter though. Whatnot says bookmarks are a part of the metric to go up in the algorithm or to where you're getting placed on For You pages. Bookmarks does have an effect on your placement on other people's For You pages. So you do want people to bookmark your show. Here's the other thing. How many times have you guys seen a show that has 200 bookmarks and you're like, I've never seen this seller. 200 bookmarks. What do all these 200 people know that I don't know? A crowd draws a crowd. So there's interest there. There's FOMO. When you see a bunch of people liking something, you're like, what don't I know about this? Maybe I need to like this and check this out. So bookmarks do matter. Maybe not in your face matter, but they do matter. And your margin. If I sell 1,000 and have 20 in it, it's better than selling 3. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Delta Martin, you wish you had better organized systems. Let's talk a little bit about some systems here. Let's do number 8. This one is important. This is number 8 on why resellers fail on Whatnot. They don't differentiate themselves. I just talked about this on Monday. Why should customers come to you? Go look in whatever category that you sell in and how many other shows are there. Why should I go to your show and not somebody else's show? So while we think about that, let me answer this question. How bad is it to set up a show and not show up? Skeeters, let me put it like this. If you know your favorite restaurant is open, because you checked the hours, they said that they were open from 7 to 9, and you decided you were going to go have a good meal, and you got there and the door was closed. They just didn't open. How would you feel? Now think about how your customers feel when they bookmark your show. They get a little reminder that your show's about to start. They stop what they're doing. They open up their phone and they go to watch your show, and you don't show up. Is it the end of the world? Is it, going to ruin your business for that show? Probably not. But if you do it over and over again, what's going to happen? Your customers are going to be like, they're unreliable. I'm not going to bookmark their show. They don't show up. I'm not going.
Nisi, I see your question. Here's my opinion, and take it as whatever you may want. I would create a different account with the business name that ties up to what you want to promote, and use that account as business. That way it's not exposing any part of your personal details, and is connected, so you can go ahead, and there's ways to produce videos and other images without resourcing to use your personal image, so nobody knows who you are.
And you see, you do not have to do social media to be successful and whatnot. Look at Green 13. Very, very minimal. I don't even think he does it. I think he has a staff member every now and then will post something. You do not have to do social media to be good at whatnot and to be successful on whatnot. Now, could it help you? Absolutely. Social media can help you be more successful on whatnot. Is it required? Is it necessary? Not at all. So you could grow, you could become a really good, successful seller on whatnot and make good money here without having any social media presence. Now, you want to start talking business strategy. Is that the recommended approach? No, obviously, the more you get your name out there, the better it is. But I really get upset when I hear other people saying, you'll never make it here if you don't do social media, because that's just not the truth. I did minuscule social media up until the beginning of this year, and I grew just fine. So it's not absolutely necessary. It's one of those things that can help you. I think people don't realize this takes time. So people get to know you. I'm on a 7th month. I'm following, but always, it does take time. Rebecca's Rusty Relics. We see so much of this instant success. We see people coming over here, and maybe they did have a social media following and they brought all their TikTok people here to whatnot. So we'll see people come in and shoot to the top really fast. And then they sit there and say, well, I made Premiere in 4 months. I made Premiere in 6 months, or I got 10, 20, 30, 40,000 followers in this amount of time. Good for you. Congratulations. That's wonderful. But there's outliers in everything. Think about this. Does every kid who play high school football end up playing pro? No. And it's not because these other ones are so much better. There are wonderful, talented high school football players that absolutely should be pro. It's just what's in the cards for them. It's just the way life works out. Maybe the scout didn't see them. Maybe whatever, happens. The same thing on here. You could be a good, wonderful seller and still take time to grow. I did talk shows where I had 5 people in my room for over a year, and 5 was a good day for me. So I would do selling shows and I would get 2, 3, 4 people time and time and time again. It's slow growth. Be thankful for slow growth, because you know what slow growth does? It allows you to be strategic. It allows you to learn the spot you're in before taking on more. Slow growth is better for your business than a rise to success, a quick, fast rise to success, because I can guarantee you those people who went from 0 to 100 like that had a ton of trouble that they have 100, people in the room or whatever, and they don't have systems in place. They haven't learned really to read the chat. They don't have a good, shipping structure set up, and they're facing a lot of struggles. They're just not talking about it.
So he's in her shop, Chicago. She comes from a different background. I can tell you from my perspective and my background, social media does make a difference. And yes, it is helpful. To what extent? It all depends, because also how much you're posting has a lot to do with how much you're garnishing. So, and the quality of your posts and how funny they are and how viral they go. And so there's a whole lot of things that if you don't have the time to put on for the social media, it might not, it might be an effort that is not well exploited. So it does help a little bit. Before we go, I have to do this one more time because, yeah. So
He just takes over my show, but that's okay.
I do. check this first show coming up in 2 days, and if you're so inclined, go ahead and bookmark. She has 3 bookmarks on her first show.
Social media is like having a pet alligator. You got to feed it or it's going to be a problem. So his and her Chicago shop. I don't disagree that social media is a great tool to use and it definitely can boost you up. My point of view is that I don't think it is absolutely necessary. Like, you can come onto Whatnot, you can do Whatnot, you can still make money, you can still grow on Whatnot and have no social media. Now, if you have social media, is that going to help you? 100%. I'm not downplaying that social media can play an important part in an overall marketing strategy and a business strategy. 100%. That's why I introduced social media into my, business strategy for this year. I just don't think that it's a pressure when you first start, that if you're just starting on Whatnot and you don't have social media, figure out Whatnot, get that under your belt, figure out how to do it, and then add stuff in as you can. I don't want people to think, oh, I have no social media, I can't do Whatnot. Because you can. I don't think it's true that you absolutely have to have it. But it definitely helps if you do have it. 100% agree with that point of view.
So I need to reply to I love discounts.
True.
I need to reply to I love discounts. Have you checked my profile lately?
Y'all.
Hey, wait. Don't go there. Yesterday, I broke the news on Custom Wood Burning Show. So if you're curious enough, you can go check my profile.
Why don't you show your profile?
All right, I'll show. Well, no, go find my profile.
You guys, Joey's Team Mod. Gotta check it out. It's historic. It's going to be historic. Yes, isn't it? You can rowboat with a spoon. A paddle would work better. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just don't like to see sellers feel overwhelmed at the beginning. So which SM would you venture out to first? What social media would I venture out to first? That depends. What is your demographic? What do you do? Oh, he's going to give you a different answer.
Let me answer that question. And she doesn't know because I hooked her up with an AI agent that all she needs to do is produce the media and post to every single platform almost. So she has Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and everything. And with the push of a button, she can populate every single one of them and schedule every single post throughout the whole entire week.
So Angie Barbie says, there are a couple of new sellers in here that only have 1 or 2 shows scheduled. Can you speak to the importance of having more than one scheduled? Absolutely. Now, I know that I am very type A. I schedule shows to the end of the year. Here's my view on this. Take it or leave it. When you come to Whatnot, one of the things we talk about is consistency and commitment. If consistency in scheduling your shows and showing up for it. If you can't find a time and day that works for you, an anchor show that you can commit to the same day and time every single week, that's the first thing you need to do. So if you say, hey, my anchor show, I can commit to Monday mornings at 7 a.m. If that's the time and the day that you can commit to, why can't you schedule out 10 shows? Why can't you schedule it out for a month or 2? That's my question. If you're telling me that this is your anchor, that you can commit to this, then what's stopping you from scheduling out 2 months? If you're like, oh, well, I don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. Well, then obviously that's not a time you can commit to. So there should be a time you can commit to that you can at least schedule out 5-10 shows. Okay. A year is excessive. I know. I plan a year in advance. I also have a job that I know my travel schedule 6 months in advance. So to me, I'm always looking longer term. So you should be able to do a few shows and commit to it. If you can't put it on your calendar and schedule it, where's that inner thing that's saying, okay, this is my day and time. I'm not missing this. It's that important. Then you're telling me that your business isn't important enough to put it on a calendar 4 weeks in advance to make sure that you show up and schedule other things around that appointment. That's why that's my point of view. To me, this is going to be something that's going to replace my income at one day. This is a business I'm building. This is just as important as, a doctor's appointment or taking my kid to something. This is just as important as my full-time job is to me.
So we don't gatekeep information. I'm going to share with you what she uses. Now, I'm going to have to let you know, it is a paid subscription. It is not free.
And we're not affiliated at all.
We're not affiliated.
We just use it.
She really likes it. It's very helpful, but check it out and you decide. This is the system that she uses. And it ties to a lot of different things, to social media, to email. It produces a lot of good things. So can you create your own? You can. Can you use different options? Yes, you can.
And I use this in conjunction with a paid subscription to ChatGPT. So
if
those
you,
are the AIs
if you swipe the chat away, I can show you a little bit more.
It's basically my whole back office. I use this for a lot of my back office stuff. It probably saves me at least 5 to 10 hours a week.
So there you have it.
Okay, hold on. There was a couple of questions here. I take clips of things happen in my show. There you go. Perfect. Use clips of there's no better. You already create it. It's content that's just sitting there ready for you. I love it. That's so efficient. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. The other thing really quick before I go on scheduling shows out, if you go in and look at a seller and they only have 1-2 shows, to me, it draws a question of, are they still going to be here? How serious are they? Are they going to show up? Any other business posts business hours. But on Whatnot, we seem to be able to say, oh, well, I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do this week. I find that very odd. My brain doesn't comprehend that. So to me, it sends a signal of your commitment, what you're providing for people on having shows scheduled out. Same thumbnail or switch it up for all the shows. Have something consistent and recognizable. I don't care. I don't really care if you switch up your thumbnails, but you should have a logo or something that's similar. Think brand recognition. How many times does Nike change the swoosh? How many times does Target change their thing? Or Louis Vuitton change the LV? Brand recognition. So you want, when people are scrolling, to be able to recognize your thumbnail over and over and over again. So if you're changing some pictures in there somewhere, keep a big logo on there, some type of brand recognition where it's easy to know it's you. I've moved my show, His and Her Chicago. I've moved my show 3 times this week because the Her side of His and Her Chicago is in Hong Kong and I'm cleaning the warehouse. I'm going to stick to my point of view on this one. I'm going to stick to the theory that rescheduling shows hurts a business. Ultimately. Is there exceptions? You do it every now and then? Yeah, that's fine. There's exceptions to everything in life. But when you consistently show up late or don't show up or reschedule, it affects the business. Is it normal to be in a loss before making a profit? Absolutely normal. 100% normal. I mean, it's not everybody takes a loss their first year, but it's very, very common. And I wouldn't look at it as being outside of the normal range at all.
All right, Miss Mary. So the show that you see posted in my profile, it's going to be community, and I'm going to be talking about show production, how to do certain things with lights and different things. So if you're interested in that, you can bookmark the show. The bad call, I don't know if I'm gonna do the bad call. Um, it'll be there. Schedule it. If you're interested, come check it out.
How much of your profit do you use to reinvest into inventory? The Gilded Shoreline. I take 10% of my gross profit for myself personally. So I pull 10% of my gross profit out on a regular basis. Everything else goes back into my business. So whether it goes to inventory or other expenses, everything else goes back into my business. Now, this is something else too, before we get into the next thing on why people fail at whatnot. When I first started, and it's very common for us, when we start, we put everything back into our businesses and we don't take anything for ourselves. That's one thing I would change. If I were to go back to the beginning of whatnot, I would change that. As a CPA, I've always been very conscious of the money, tracking everything, very analytic, doing a lot of spreadsheets, but I was still under the mindset of reinvesting everything. And it was only recently that I started taking 10% out of my gross profit to put aside for myself. And I have such a different view of my business now, in the sense of that's your reward. That's part of what keeps you going. It becomes very discouraging, particularly like Nisi asked, if you take a loss in the first year, to do a business and see a loss and never have anything that you're like, no, this is really, this is something I'm pulling out. Here's my savings growing, whatever it may be. I would highly suggest for any new person to take whatever percent. I do 10. It doesn't have to be 10. It could be, okay, I'm just going to take $20 every time I transfer money from whatnot into my business account. I'm going to take 20 out, or a certain percentage. I got it. Thank you. It's very rewarding for yourself. It's very encouraging to help keep going. I would highly suggest doing that on a regular basis. The mentality is no different than when you work for somebody else and they have a 401k and you have like a certain percentage of your paycheck automatically going into your 401k and you don't even see it, and eventually you don't even miss it. It's that same mentality, but instead of putting it for retirement, you're paying yourself. Am I going to be the wizard behind the curtain? He won't let me touch the buttons. Aaron, he does not let me anywhere near his little spaceship setup over there.
She had the buttons. She didn't know what to do with them. And you want her to play my part. She doesn't know what to push.
Is it cheaper to ship a 13-pound order all in one box or to unbundle? That depends on where it's going. So what I do is, if I have an order that's over 5 pounds, I weigh it and I put that weight into the shipping screen. I pull up that customer and I look and see what it's going to cost me. And I use that information to determine if it's cheaper to unbundle or not. There's no other way to do it that I'm aware of. Mama says, my anchor is every Thursday. Once in a while, I have to miss due to my health. I try to push through on bad days, even if it's only an hour show. And I applaud that. Look, even if it's your anchor show and you seriously, people are like, look, I just can't do this today, go on for 5 minutes. Show up. Hey, everybody, I'm really sick today, or I'm not feeling good. Even if that's all you can do. Now, I get there are emergencies and there are exceptions. I get that. But those are exceptions, not the rule. So even if it's like, I can only come on for 5 minutes to touch base, to make that connection, people who show up for you will appreciate that far more than you never showing up at all. His production show, September 1st, right? It's September 1st, the Raid Train?
It's in my profile.
September 1st, I am going to plug Forgotten Memories and Coastal Peacock Company, or Coastal Peacock Co. They are the conductors of this Raid Train. He's going to go on at whatever time he goes on. I think I go on at 7. So we are both going to be on this Raid Train. It is a community-focused education Raid Train. So I highly recommend that you go and look at the thumbnail. It's Watering the Seeds Raid Train. Definitely follow. They've got a good lineup going.
Yes, it's a separate show because she's going live a little bit after I am done. So we're going to have 2 shows almost back to back. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. And I want to do this plug because she stayed in and I think it's just right. So here you go, Miss Jennifer. There's your promotion. Now, my suggestion is
Get some more shows.
put more shows in there, not just one. If you're so inclined, go check her out. She's got some Christmas or turkeys or something on home decor coming up tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. Check her out.
So Delta Martin says, oh, I Love Discounts is on the same rate train, 5 o'clock. There you go. And yes, Mary, he does have a separate show under Zoe's T-Mod. Delta Martin, I had to reschedule a show due to storms and losing power. Didn't know I lose your pre-bids. Yeah, if you reschedule past 48 hours, you lose all the pre-bids. How does that person feel? I mean, think about the people who put those pre-bids in.
That's a good idea. I could.
So Wild Heart Studio says, when you have some type of catastrophe happening, you don't cancel, you change the time. You can, but there's no difference in changing the time, to me, canceling or changing the time. Canceling hurts you more on Whatnot. Whatnot tells you canceling will hurt you. If you cancel too many shows, when I'm talking about just deleting the show completely, Whatnot will lower how they're pushing you. They say that in help.whatnot.com. Rescheduling a show is probably always the best choice. If you have to pick between canceling and rescheduling would always be the top choice. But even if you start rescheduling shows too often or the same show too many times, that will get a little suppressed in the algorithm too. And if you go to help.whatnot.com, it talks about that. It's still just not good for business. We have this perception here on Whatnot that because it's virtual, because we can do this from the comfort of our home, because you're sitting on your couch doing it or whatever, that we don't have to be as professional as a brick and mortar. And when I say professional, I'm not talking suit and tie and stuffy. I'm talking about following some of the same basic business principles and concepts that a brick and mortar does. I know we're e-commerce, I know we're virtual, but keeping a schedule, showing up when you say you're going to show up, those are integrity things. That has nothing to do with if you're online or if you're in person. Doing what you say you're going to do is part of who you are and the core of what you want to display. If your brand is a brand of, I show up when I want to show up, I reschedule when I want to reschedule, then go ahead, let that be your brand, but you're going to reap the results of whatever you put out there. Just understand that. Go ahead and reschedule all day long, but then don't complain to me that nobody's showing up for your shows. Why should they if they can't count on you?
Presley Pickings, I was in a custom wood burning show yesterday. She was talking about AI, and one of her suggestions was to copy the link of your profile and Whatnot, and then put it on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you a analysis of your profile and suggestions to polish it. So I thought that was a great point, because a lot of people, if we're not very good at writing like myself, we could use the help. So that's a good hint to utilize AI to leverage a little bit more of an advantage on how you present your profile.
And can I just say this? And I am not picking on any individual reseller here, or reseller on Whatnot. I don't have any one person in mind, because there are multiple people who do this. There are multiple people who sell rate your profile or let me help you do your profile better. They're just going to AI. They're taking what you wrote and putting it into AI and charging you to do that. ChatGPT is free for up to so many questions a day. Just think about that. You're all big people, grown-ups. You spend your money the way you want to spend your money. But just know that the people who are selling Rate My Profiles are just putting it into ChatGPT and telling you what they say, what ChatGPT says. Again, I am not picking on anyone, because I have seen a Rate My Profile multiple times. Okay. Number 7, why Whatnot businesses fail. They rely too heavily on new buyers. To acquire a new buyer costs you far more than to retain a repeat buyer. Do we need a mix? Absolutely, we need a mix. But your repeat buyers are the ones that are your base. They're the ones that are going to bid first. They're the ones that are going to talk first. They're the ones that when you do have to miss a few days are going to come back and remember you. It costs so much more to go to market to try to attain a new person than it does to keep somebody and make them happy. And this plays heavily into the customer service side of it. Customer service is coming to Whatnot. We have 1 week, and every single seller here will be doing their own customer service. So keeping a repeat customer, if somebody has something breaks, not blaming them, not saying, oh, you used AI photos, you're lying, providing that utmost of customer service during the show and after the show is going to reap you a million times more rewards than trying to go out and get new customers constantly. If you're doing what you're doing, you're advertising, you're doing your marketing, you're putting on a good show, you're providing a good experience, those new buyers should come to you organically, and then they should start to convert to repeat buyers. But focusing too much on just the new people is one of the downfalls on Whatnot. I use Chat GPT for advice for a show, and it worked well. Even told me to use a Giphy. Did it tell you to use a Giphy? Yes, it will tell you to use Giphies. Look, at ChatGPT is wonderful. It can help you with show flow. It can help you line up items. I talk a lot about structuring the order of items. Go ahead and get an Excel list, type in your items and your price points and your descriptions. Like if you're using that CSV upload file, take a minute before you upload it, feed it into ChatGPT and say, can you give me suggestions on how to organize this in the best way to have a good flow to my show? There's so many uses that is not like I'm using it just to create ChatGPT, junk or slop. There's so many really good, effective uses of it. If most of my shows are just a picture of my face because I'm trying to figure out what shows to do when, is that bad for business? What do you mean what shows to do when? Like your thumbnail is just a picture of your face? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Actually, having a real picture there shows higher conversion rates than the AI junk that's out there. Whatnot says this themselves, that using a real picture of either your products or yourself converts people, gets them to click on your thumbnail far more than the multitude of AI generated images. Think about how true this is. How many of you, all the AI generated images just become they blur together and you just keep scrolling and then you see a real face or a real item, and that is what's popping out to you. So I can tell you, I heard this at the Seller Summit in Austin. When was that? April, May, somewhere. April at the Seller Summit. And immediately for this show, my Monday, Wednesday show, I put a picture of myself on there. I went from having about 50, 60 people to close to 100 right after that. Now, I'm sure there's other variables in there, but it all happened at the same time when I started using a picture of myself for my talk shows. There may be something to it. Bella says, when we do our own customer service, how does that come to you? Through email or messages in the app? So it is all through the app. I'm sure there's some notification. I don't have it turned on, so I couldn't tell you. I never get emails, but I also have a lot of those turned off, the notifications. But in the app on your homepage, there's a notification on your homepage. So when you go to your seller's hub and it'll say, you have X number of packages to ship or something like that. They have those notifications. You'll get a customer service notification there. You also get a DM about it. So there'll be a spot in your DMs that say customer service. It is super easy. Don't be afraid of this at all, anybody. I've been on the beta for however long, a year now, I guess, 8 months, a year. I love it. It's super easy. And think about it like this. People are all like, well, what if they don't agree? And what if I have to do this? It's not a lot of work. If you do what you're supposed to, you're a good, honest seller, and you're doing the best job you can do, you're going to get very few customer service requests. So it's not like this is going to be a huge deal. Now, if you don't know how to ship, or you're not describing items the right way, you're going to get inundated with customer service requests. Guess what? Whatnot was handling that, and they got tired of it because you weren't doing what you were supposed to do right to begin with. They're putting it back on the people. This is going to weed out some bad sellers on Whatnot, and I'm very excited about that.
So Presley Pickings, and this goes for whoever has questions also about profile. I read your profile. It's nice. Can it be more? Can it be polished? Yeah, maybe you can polish it a little bit more. Think about this. This is your business. So when you go to a business, what is the most important things that you would like to know? For example, what do they sell, and when do they're open? What are the times that they're open? So I think those are the two things that might be the main thing, the meat and potatoes of the profile. And then after that, if you want to add some more stuff, feel free.
Yep. Picture if you were to raid somebody and they pull up your profile and start to read it. Do they want to read, oh, this is Bob. Bob's a husband to Sally, and they have 6 kids, and they live in Arkansas. And at one time they had a dog named Pete, and Pete got sick. Oh, wait, way down here they sell vintage decor. No, who you are, what you sell, when you're on. Give them the facts. Then if you want to put all your life story underneath it, you go for it. You go have a blast with that. Who you are, what you sell, and when you're on. There, you don't even need ChatGPT. Just told you it right there. Rhonda says, why does it show overdue when I already shipped it? Did you scan it? Did you use the in-app scanner? That's my question for you. Did I miss another question up here? I think I got it. Oh, Al-McD. If I don't know if I'm saying that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. You did your first show, lasted 30 minutes, 14 people at one time. I sold 1 item. I ran everything twice and had 14 items. I cried on camera. I was so scared. Okay, couple of things for you. And please know I'm giving you advice based on 2 sentences that I just read on a screen. I wasn't at your show. Be confident. There's no reason to cry on camera. I know we're scared, but part of what you're doing is you're providing an experience for people here. You are leading them through the journey of your show. You are in charge. So you need to have that confidence coming into it. I've designed my show. I've priced my items. I've picked out my items, and I cannot wait to bring this to you and show this to you, and we're going to have a great time. Okay? No reason to be scared on it at all. 14 items, depending on what you sell, may be kind of light. I would go for maybe 30 to 40 for your first couple of shows. And you know what? You sold 1 thing. That's amazing. Congratulations. That is really great. It's your first show. You're learning the ropes. So go and give it another shot. Be in control of your show though. Go into it with confidence, because you know what? There's nobody that knows you better than you. Nobody that knows your products that you're bringing better than you. Nobody knows your environment better than you. And guess what? You get to share that with other people. So just pretend that you're inviting people over for a party and you can't wait to show what a great time they're going to have. So change how you're coming into it.
Lysandra, are you still around? I think Nisi has a question for you right there.
My post office is always trying to get me to use the manifest, but I've heard so many horror stories. How can I make them scan and stop? They still have to scan the packages. Even if they do the manifest, they still have to scan the packages. At least that's what mine told me. And they can't deny you from you don't have to bring the manifest. They can't deny you. Now, look, post offices, they're a wide range. Some are helpful. Some are just pains in the you-know-what. You just have to stand your ground nicely. Ask to speak to a manager if you have to. Okay, number 6. Did Lysandra answer? Thank you. We don't use a scan sheet. Too many packages went missing. Go to another post office. It appreciates your business. There you go. And that's coming from somebody who works at a post office. So they have a little more knowledge on that end of it. You guys, I Love Discounts also does a ship show every Monday at 7 p.m. It may be 5. It's either 5 or 7. 7. I always get the time wrong. Every Monday, you can go and bookmark it. They will answer shipping questions in depth. Wonderful show. Very knowledgeable people. They have shipped a wide variety of things for many, many years. So highly, highly recommend, and do trust what they say on shipping. Okay, number 6. Why do businesses fail? Number 6, they grow before their systems can handle the growth. This is what I was saying earlier. When you go too fast, all the cracks start to appear. Growing in a slow, controlled manner allows you to tackle one level before you move to the next level. You get to learn everything about how to make something happen. Yes, my love. Are you going to get coffee and you're not getting me some?
No, good morning, Millie.
Hello, Millicent. No coffee. Okay, he just walked off.
I want to warm mine. Give me yours.
Thank you so much. Okay. So yeah, the turtle and the hare. it will show your cracks if you grow too fast. So have systems in place. And when you start designing systems, shipping system, pre-show system, after show system, show flow of what you're doing. How do I set up my inventory? What happens when I bring my inventory into my home? How do I tag it? How do I track it? How do I pull it back out? What's my accounting system? The more systems you set up, one, the more efficient you're going to get, the more you're going to get done. Two, the less mistakes you start making, because you're doing it the same way over and over and over. Can I pin his page? I can't pin his page, but we can tag him here. Let me tag him for you. Who are you talking about, Rhonda, really quick? Are you talking about Noel's? I'm going to pin him, and if it's somebody else, you can tell me and we'll pin somebody else. Okay, there you go. So the more you have systems, the better you are for growth. And then think about this too. The system you're setting up when you're sending out 20 packages is going to be different than the system when you're sending out 100. But you want to keep the 100 in mind when you're designing it. Everything's going to evolve and tweak and change as you go, but you really want to think, and the best example of this that I can think of is when you're doing 20 packages a week and you're writing handwritten thank you notes. It is not that it is a bad thing to write them, but are you going to be able to do that when you do 100? So think about the systems you have. If you're just kind of winging it when you're shipping, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to grab this box, do it this way. Does the system you have for shipping for 20 packages work when you have a multitude of packages? So as you're setting these systems up, think about your growth, where you want to be. How does this help you be efficient and do it the same thing over and over and reduce mistakes? That's the whole thing about systems, is reducing mistakes. So a lot of times what happens while you fail is you get really big and you don't have any structure for that growth. And then mistakes start happening. The wrong items get in the wrong boxes. Like I just said, I gave my own perfect example. One of the first cracks I saw that I need to step back and take a breath and kind of reassess a little bit of my growth is I had a show yesterday and there was 3 price tags on. To me, that's a no-go. I do not... The worst that I would accept is having a piece of string or a piece of tape left on an item. Even that I don't like, but price tags, no, they shouldn't be on my items when I'm showing them. So that was my kind of wake up call yesterday of like, okay, Tracy, you're working a lot of late nights. You're getting up really early in the morning. You need to take a minute and kind of rethink a little bit here to prevent this from getting any worse. So think about those systems. Let's go to number 5. Oh, this is a good one, you guys. Number 5, the reason why businesses fail on Whatnot. Price based on competition and not economics. You price based on your competition. Guess what? A competitor's pricing strategy is not your business model. Just because everybody else doubles their prices when they live shop, or they do varying prices, or they do low and even prices, or they do dollar starts, or they do $10 starts. Whatever it is they're doing does not mean that's what you have to do. Going to assume most of us sell from home. The more we grow, you need space and systems. Absolutely, Rebecca's. We have taken over my whole basement at this point. Do not just look at what everybody else does and copy them for your pricing model. Okay. I highly recommend low and even starts. That doesn't mean that that's the only way to do it. It means that this is a way that works, that I've seen be successful, but there's also other ways to be successful with your pricing model. So we come on here, we tend to copy a lot. Copying is a huge deal on Whatnot. There is something to be said about observing, learning, taking good ideas and then making those ideas into your own versus straight up copying. You're not that business. Somebody else's business model is not your business model. So this is a huge reason why people fail on Whatnot. They'll come on here, a brand new seller, and will start doing dollar starts before they understand their profit margins, before they understand doing it any other way. I would never recommend a brand new seller do reduced shipping, dollar starts, or free shipping right out of the gate. You need a little bit of experience. And then even that, I say, go into it slowly. Don't just do an all like, feet first, jump into it. So there's a lot of us and we have strong opinions and we're on here talking about what works and what doesn't. There is no one absolute right way because if there was just one best way to do everything on Whatnot, guess what would happen? everybody on Whatnot would be doing it that way, right? If there was only one pricing structure, one way to sell, one way to do all of this, that's what everybody would do. So there's not. So don't let people who tell you, oh, buy this and it makes you successful because this is the way to do it. No, there's multiple ways. Their way is one way. My way is one way. The way I tell you, I'm going to tell you based on, business principles, tried and true methods, what I'm doing that works, what I've seen, things that other people do that works, doesn't mean that that's your method or your way. Rhonda, your box size and weight more than 5 times. Box size more than 5 times. I'm not sure what you're asking. Can you clarify that a little bit for me, Rhonda? Presley's Pickings. I'm 3 months in and my first reduced shipping low start show is great. Presley's Pickings. I made sure to be comfortable with the systems, and that is exactly what I'm saying. A lot of times you'll hear, we tend to get very into, and look, I'm guilty of this. I fully admit that I am guilty of this too. We get so ingrained into one way of doing things or our way of doing things that we portray that no other way is correct. And I know I come across very strong on dollar starts, low and even pricing, reduced shipping. I strongly believe in every single one of those things. I found success. I've seen others. I get at least one DM a day telling me that they have tried some of this stuff and it's working for them. So I'm going to keep talking about it. But I encourage every single person in this room that's selling to go and hear what everybody has to say, take it all in, analyze your own business, and then try different things to find the combination that works for you. You can't just copy somebody else's pricing strategy and think it's going to work. And let me give you a perfect example of this because I did it. Let me give you what happened to me. I watched Jeremy at Green 13. I think he is wonderful. If you're not watching him, you really should be. Well, he just stopped his chat show. Go watch his selling shows because even that you're going to learn a bunch. Or you can follow him on YouTube. You want to put his YouTube in there. His chat shows are now moved to YouTube. So he talked about dollar starts, free shipping, talked about it. Now I'm analytical. I was analyzing my numbers, but I'm like, you know what? This is it. It was resonating with me. Everything he was saying was like, Tracy, this is it. This is what your business needs. And I jumped headfirst into dollar starts. I just jumped into it. Did it work? Yeah, I lost a little money at first, but yeah, it worked. But you know what? It worked so well that I immediately went from about a 30 to 40% sell-through rate to 100% sell-through rate. And within about 4 weeks, I had 0 inventory left. I blew through all of my inventory so fast selling at dollar starts that I couldn't keep up. That was a huge lesson learned. You can't just copy. You've got to think about how does it affect your business. Immediately after those first 2 shows, when I saw that I was selling everything, I should have stopped and said, okay, this is cool. It's cool that I copied, but the way he does it, he has a continual source of inventory. When he's giving that advice, he never stopped to say, consider how you get your inventory, because to him, that wasn't a problem. That wasn't part of his perspective, right? But it was for me, and it was a lesson learned by just copying. There was parts of that didn't work out for me. I had to take that and mold it to my business in the way it worked right for me.
So he's making a transition right now. As of right now, he's got a few videos in his channel. They're really good. So I would recommend you go check him out. That's the YouTube channel right there.
Good morning, the Sassy Vintage Chick.
He said he was going to be posting more videos and he might do a pop-up here and there and whatnot. So I'm not sure. We know as much as you do, but we share what we have.
So Rhonda, when I first started on Whatnot, I did buyer pays all. I quickly went down to reduced shipping. I saw the benefit in that very early on, within a couple of months, if it took me a couple of months to go to reduced shipping. When I first started doing dollar starts, if I remember right, I'd have to go back and look at my numbers. I want to say that I was doing, at that time, it was $9.21 was the max. It was before the shipping drop. It was $9.21. So I was doing like a reduced $9.21 shipping with dollar starts. And it didn't last for long. I then quickly went to free shipping dollar starts. So I've always pretty much done reduced. Then I did 6 months of free shipping with dollar starts. And then I went back to a reduced. I do $4.50 now. So.
Boomer babe style. Yeah. If your printer doesn't have what is called a mobile printing setup, you won't be able to connect. You would have to use a computer connected to the printer directly. Most printers, unless they're really new, they don't have that mobile printing enabled. So if you bought your printer a couple years or 3-4 years ago, they probably doesn't have that enabled. If it's a thermal printer, you may, but I'm not sure if it's gonna print correctly, because in the mobile printer there's very limited options on how to set up the paper size and everything else.
Good Life Shopping Channel. I think your comment's really interesting. I messed up doing dollar starts without having enough people bidding and sold 2 brand new Levi's shirts with tags. I would challenge you, not that you need to disclose your numbers publicly in a room like this, but I would challenge you and ask you, what was your average order value for the whole show? Did you make money on your other items? What kind of goodwill happened with those Levi's shirts? You sold 2 shirts either to 1 or 2 different people. Are they coming back to you? Were they excited? Were other people in your room excited because somebody got a good deal? What benefit came from that? And you can't just look at each individual item. What was your average order value across the whole show? So that was 2 items out of how many you showed. Was it really a loss? So think about it. If you just look item per item, nobody would do dollar starts if you did item by item. Do I lose money on some items? Absolutely. I had a show yesterday, I think 2 or 3 items in for $1, but a lot of other items got bid up way more than what I expected them to. Cracker Jack box. I'm doing $3 starts, but I'm getting discouraged because everything is going for $3 and they are glass items. Cracker Jack box. I'm going to say something, but keep in mind, I have not watched your show, so I'm giving you advice here based on not seeing your exact show. Dollar starts, $3 starts, 5 low starts are one tool in a greater toolbox. They're one piece of your puzzle. Just that alone doesn't mean people are going to bid it up. And glass items, I don't know what kind of glass items. I'm assuming nice because, I like glass, but it's one tool. Just because we offer a low start doesn't mean people are going to bid, doesn't mean people are going to stay. What was your lighting like? What was the experience? What was the experience like? What else was happening in the show? What was your shipping? I don't care if your item's $3. If your item was $3 and your shipping was $7.75, that's $10. Was the item you were trying to sell a value greater than $10? If not, then why would I buy it? So there's a lot of pieces that go into it. Liz says, my first 2 shows I did dollar starts. Both shows were sold out and almost everything sold for just $1, but it kick-started my business and got you buyers. Absolutely. And everything sold out. So what does that mean? That means that every time you run something, people are bidding. Even if it's just one bid, that's activity. What is the algorithm like? The algorithm likes activity. The more activity you have, the more people are coming to your room. The more people in your room, they see the experience. They get hooked on you. They get hooked on this experience and they come back. And they come back ready to spend. It's not this instant, I'm going to be successful today because I'm doing a dollar start show. You have to create that whole package. That's just one piece of it.
Good Life Shopping. I totally understand. Can you silence that?
I did. I just silenced it. Sorry.
I would invite you to check out the YouTube channel that she has. She has something that she called a reverse auction. I think it'll be an interesting approach for what you're trying to do with those gingerbread houses.
And I totally get it. Look, there was a whole time in my Whatnot journey that there were items that I would not list for $1. I just couldn't. There were things that I could not get over that feeling inside of me to list them for $1. That's when I would do a reverse auction, or that's when you list them on another site, or that's when you put them in your bin. Just because you're doing dollar starts doesn't mean you have to intentionally bring the highest value item and lose money. Now, do they need to be quality? 100%. Don't bring your crap and sell it for $1 and expect me to bid it up. Crap is still crap. I don't care how you price it. So you've got to really think about the quality that you're going to bring to a dollar start show. You'll see this a lot. People do, I'm going to do a clearance show. So this is everything that I couldn't sell, and I'm going to do it for $1. And then they say, well, nobody bid it up past $1 or $2. Dollar starts don't work. Well, no, dollar starts don't work because you brought all your damn leftovers that nobody wanted, and then you expected them to bid it up. Like, let's have a little bit of logic about this in the first place. In regular retail, they're called loss leaders. Costco runs five items right, they lose money on. Loss leaders are huge on Whatnot. Now, I don't recommend that you go and fill a show with loss leaders, but having 1 or 2 items in your show that you may lose money on, but it brings people in, not a bad idea. You buy it with the thought that you can fill your box, not necessarily that one item at $3. But not everybody looks at that. Ms. DT, when there is a price on the screen, and if you are a buyer and this is your first item that you're about to buy, you haven't already hit a reduced shipping, when you haven't got to the point where you're maxing out a box. If you show me something, if I'm holding this up and people are like, okay, this is about a $5, maybe an $8 value, and I'm asking $4 for it and my shipping $7, the value isn't there. There's no reason for anybody to bid on it. Your shipping cost, what it costs to ship an item, plus that starting bid added together, makes a difference in the buyer's decision. This is why reduced shipping helps. It makes a difference. Now, if you have very high-end items, stuff that's really expensive, they're going to be more willing to overlook and pay that shipping. But let's face it, what are most people selling on Whatnot? $5 to $20 items. Good life shopping. I wouldn't do it for $1, but I want to do an auction, not just sure where to start. Should I save them for when the room is pumping? Yeah, you absolutely can. I have items every single show that I plan to do at a certain point, but sometimes if Noel's watching and the room count is good, the chat's good, my bids are going good, he'll be like, do that item now. Now's the time to do that item. Other times somebody might request something and I'll say, you know what, that's coming up. We're going to get to it. Don't go nowhere. And I wait until I feel that I'm going to get the bids for it. That's part of your responsibility as a seller in running your show. Delta Martin, as a buyer, when I hit free shipping, I'm buying at least one more item. It's psychological. What is your behind the scenes camera setup? Can you do this with just your phone? I had someone sitting at the table. Yes, absolutely. You do not need a fancy setup. We have an over the top setup. It is not necessary. All you need is a phone. Okay. A second device helps, but again, not necessary to do those first couple of shows. So you absolutely can just have your phone. Quick PSA, I saw on Whatnot, status raids are not working. What are, Sassy Vintage Chicks, what are status raids? Is that when just people like do a show just to raid into somebody else? I love that, Liz. Always saying good bids gets the good stuff brought out. Exactly. If I'm doing a show and people are not bidding up stuff, I'm not breaking out my best goods. That would be dumb of me as a seller. Franklin Hidden Treasures. No, raids in general are not working. I had to end my show. Oh, raids aren't working.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can Google Whatnot says and tells you if it's up. Oh, okay. So raids are not working. Thank you. Thank you for the PSA. So everybody who has a show, we'll try to raid. We'll see if we can. If not, we'll at least give you a suggestion on who we would have gone to. Okay, we are number 4. We have 4 more reasons why Whatnot sellers fail, and we're almost out of time, so I want to get to them. Number 4, they build a business. They're building a show, not a business. So my wording there, they're building a show, not a business. There's more to it than just your show. There's systems, process, strategy, inventory, accounting. There's more to it. People come in here. Good morning, Old River. People come in here and they just think about the show. You will not be successful on Whatnot. This is a business. The show is like your showroom floor. It's like the retail store space. Every retail store has a back room. They have an administrative office. Your Whatnot business will not work without your back room and your administrative part of it. So that is the number 4 reason is there is such a lack of business and accounting knowledge. You don't have to be experts in either one, but you are a business owner and you do need to be able to address it to some degree within your business if you want this to be successful. There is no 2 ways around it. And there's not even a way to say it nicely. If you never do your accounting, if you never look at any of your administrative and back end stuff, you will fail. Plain and simple. You cannot just come on here and go live and then that is it and expect to be successful. It will not happen.
I see the questions, but I'll give you a quick tour of the setup. It'll be quick.
Okay, let me answer Rhonda's question before you switch over.
All right, go ahead.
So good morning, Mammies. Good morning. I just jumped in as a small seller. I don't feel I can afford max shipping. Can you explain? Mammy, don't go nowhere. We'll get to that. Do I keep up with the price you pay for each item? I do it in bulk. I do not do item by item. I do averages in bulk. So yes and no. I do track it. Everybody should be tracking inventory, but it doesn't have to be done item by item. Administratively, that would be impossible for me to do. Okay.
Are you ready for the behind scenes?
Let him do his behind the scenes, and then we'll get to the last three and answer those couple of questions right there. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. This is going to be the behind
Look,
scenes.
we have a wall. That is the most amazing wall that we have ever had. You will ever see right there. And y'all, hold on real quick. Before you show the janky paint job, I only painted halfway because he has to move that equipment, and I'm waiting for him to move. I'm not just like a bad painter.
So this is what she sees when she's looking at you guys.
Yep, that's what I see. Thank you, Franklin Hidden Treasures. I did too, but it was drowning out the item, so I had to change it.
All right, and we're going back to the wall.
That's it. There you go. Okay, so a couple of questions. Mammy's Market. I don't feel I can afford max shipping. Can you explain? So when you're looking at max shipping, I would never recommend somebody brand new doing max shipping. You need to do 3 or 4 shows, if not a few more. Buyer pays all. Then go look at your numbers. How much is the buyer paying? If you were to do $775, how much would it cost you, like in overages? So if you go and look at what the buyers paid, how many paid more than $775? That's the amount you would have to assume if you were to do max shipping at $775. So before you change anything to max shipping, go and look at your numbers. Understand the shipping process, how it works, how the buttons work, and how much it's costing your buyers before you can make a good educated decision on how much of that cost you want to assume as part of doing business. Hopefully that answered your question.
All right, I want to give a disclaimer. Keep in mind that I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been doing multimedia since I was in college. And then after that, I started doing other things and then went back to multimedia. I've been covering events and doing a bunch of different things. So I have a lot of equipment that when she started doing whatnot, we put to use. And then we added a little bit more. But that's the reason why you see all this stuff that you see.
Dave K. Shaley, for your first show, if you have 30 to 40 items, it depends what you're selling on how long it takes you to show those items. That amount of items, I would say maybe an hour, hour and a half tops. If you're going to show them 2 times, probably about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. But again, it depends. You may be able to show a piece of clothing faster than I can show a piece of vintage decor. Now, you still want to keep up a good pace, but off the top of my head, I would say an hour to hour and a half. And I would show everything at least twice at your first show because you have different people coming in.
Killer Treasures, that frog is for sale. Wild Heart Studio. I'm going to put it on the box. Wild Heart Studio. She's the artist that we're featuring this morning. And she does an amazing job with paint. She uses watercolors. And that frog that you see, that's a close-up. Those are bubbles that she painted with watercolors. So that's a close-up of the frog. And that is for sale. So go check her out. I'm going to put it on the box.
I'll buy you some fun. You see the total on your order. So if you go to each individual order, it's a little work on your part. You've got to put in the work to go look at those numbers, but it's going to reap the rewards in helping you make a good educated business decision. So you got to go look at their orders and it'll tell you what they paid in shipping. I have an iPad, not to brag. Okay, so he's putting the name in for you. I think we're caught up. Okay, number 3 reason why Whatnot sellers fail, they don't know their numbers. This goes back to this is a business. I cannot tell you how many questions I get, particularly at tax time. Where do I find a financial report? If you come to me at tax time in January or February and you ask me where to find a financial report, you are telling me that you have just spent a whole year selling and not looking at your numbers. How in the world? How do you know how much money you're spending, what you should source, what your profit margin is, how to price things, what you can and can't buy, how to make decisions, which products are making you money, which ones aren't making you money, which revenue line streams that you have are good, which are bad? You don't know any of this. You are basically putting a blindfold on and hitting go live and hoping that it works out if you're not looking at your numbers. A true business looks at their numbers. Why are you here? You're here to make money? Then why aren't you watching the money? You are Crafty Fairies, DM my husband, Zoe's Team Mod, some pictures, as many as you want. We may not use all of them. He puts it all together and we'll get you on the schedule.
Delta, I think Whatnot took away the pre-bid button on the app, if I'm not mistaken. I heard a couple of sellers mentioning it, and they were not very happy with it. So that's a feature that Whatnot is providing. I'm not sure if they're going to bring it back with an update.
Rhonda, your question, if it shows as the seller already paid $25 in shipping and I edit shipping details, why doesn't that price change? If you're talking about, are you talking about the price on the top of your shipping screen where it says what you've paid during that show? Because if you're talking about that number, that's just what you paid during the show. That number will not change. When you do adjustments, when you're charged for any shipping adjustments, that goes on your ledger. So as a seller who's doing reduced shipping, if you want to go and look back at how much you're paying, you need to look at the number on your shipping screen and the ledger.
So the Most Penny says that she can still see pre-bids. I was going to say update on that. I can see it on the computer, on the browser. I can see the pre-bid button. I'm not sure if on the phone, on the app, it's going to show.
I want to steal that His and Her Chicago shop. I'm going to totally quote you. I will give you all the credit, but I'm going to totally quote you. If you don't know your numbers, you don't make no sense. The compliments of His and Her shop. I'm totally going to quote that in future shows, but I will make sure that it says the little line with your name next to it.
Awesome, Killer Treasures. I'm so happy that you're not going to be disappointed. That frog, it's amazing.
Did they go buy the frog? That's awesome. Oh, cool. Hold on. Let me see. Dusty, we'll get there. A bit dusty. I had 2 items sold on my show this week. I went back and watched the video and they sold to 2 different people. It's because their payments failed. If they disappear when you go to ship them, it's because their payments failed. It's a real funky the way Whatnot handles it. Everybody wishes they would change it. But yeah, that's why. It's because their payments never went through. You can go to your inactive tab. Those items will be showing there. Change a quantity and then you can bring them back in. I need to learn. Can we hire you? Or how do we learn the back office? I want to know. Keep coming to my shows. Ask questions. This is all I talk about. Fridays is all business and Friday night is tax. This is all we talk about is back office stuff and running a business. We talk about the business side of it. We'll do a little bit of show talk, but we really focus on the business side.
Presley, send us a DM if you have questions. We share the information.
Presley's Pickings. Good news too, another easy way to get it. I do have a book coming out soon. I'm in the middle of editing it now. I'm hoping to release it by the end of October at the latest. And the book is all pretty much back office, has some show stuff. So I do have a book coming out called Build a Business, Not Just the Show. So it's going to have a lot of that information in there too. That's coming soon. Does your classes teach about how to get your numbers? We talk a little bit about analytics in them. So we do. This one here, we did some analytics in week 3 and 4. Also on YouTube, last week, I did Monday, I did a bunch of talking on analytics. And so you can go and watch that on YouTube under my YouTube. And then Reselling Roundtable, we just did the last 2 shows, number 30 and 31, were all on analytics. So, and you're going to get information from 3 different sellers, not just me. So those are 2 places that you can go and hear more analytic talk immediately.
You can rewatch on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's your shipping screen and your ledger. Those are the 2 places, shipping screen and ledger. Rhonda, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You guys, if you did purchase that course, send me your email so that I can get you the link to all the materials right away. Okay, number Two, the second highest reason why people fail on Whatnot, they buy inventory faster than they can sell it. Anybody have a death pile? Put something in the chat if you have a death pile. This is a big reason people fail. What is a death pile? Money sitting on your shelf. You are limiting your cash flow. You have now moved money from your bank into inventory. Let me answer Killer Treasures, and we'll talk a little bit about this reason. Then we're going to wrap up soon. I lost my shirt on the rewards program this quarter. Buy one item, get a $5 coupon. People bought $1 stickers and got a free $5 item. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. You've got to watch it. I choose not to use rewards. Design your own. Use coupons so that you can make it be exactly what you want it to. I find the Whatnot rewards somewhat limiting. It doesn't give me the flexibility that I want to create it my way. And they don't give a lot of guidance either about how to use it. This is our rewards program. This is what we use. We design rewards cards ourselves, and those are coupon cards that we use in our shows. And we put in boxes for people. Old River Trading, yes, the meetup tickets are sold out. But if you message me, I'll put you on a cancellation list. If we get any people that cancel and I have tickets become available, I will DM everybody on the cancellation list, and then I will stick those tickets in my bin for sale. Okay, so we talk about the inventory. We know this is one of the reasons people fail. You're taking cash and you're trading it for inventory that's sitting and sitting and sitting. How long is that going to sit? Put in the chat now, what is your optimal time to turn your inventory over? I don't agree with that. My death pile has had 3 boxes and 2 fairy lamps, 3 B boxes and Mark Exchange. But if it sits for too long, it's just money sitting there. It's just sitting there. There should be a time limit. There should be a time when we're selling it. If we're collecting, we're either selling, we're buying to resell, or we're collecting at some point. Having death piles, having inventory that never turns over is losing money. It's time, it's space, it's effort, and it's money just sitting there. Dead inventory is killer in any industry. There you go. Okay, so we have 1 month, weekly, 3 months, 6 months. I am so glad, as long as you have an idea of what is that limit, and when you hit that limit, when you're looking at your inventory and it's been sitting there for 6 months, then you're going to make a decision. Now, kind of going back to his and her Chicago shop, there will always be certain exceptions. There's always going to be that item that's worth $2,000. Someday you're just not getting rid of it. Until then, you're going to enjoy it. 1 or 2 or 3 items like that, not a whole shelf full of items like that, right? There's nothing wrong with holding specific items if there's just a few. But if you do that on a regular basis and you have tubs and tubs and tubs and tubs, or shelves and shelves and shelves, that's when it becomes a problem for inventory turnover. If you bought oil in February, you are doing very well today. True. I still think there's truth in inventory turnover. I'm not going to change my mind on that one. I have seen too many businesses fail because so much money is tied up in inventory.
For those of you who send me a DM, I already answered.
Yes, Old River Trading, just to have them send me a message. I'll put them on that list. With that, I'll notify people if we get any more tickets from like cancellations.
Sonny, if you want to rewatch, you don't have to purchase anything. We multicast to YouTube, and you can rewatch for free.
Meetup tickets, we are doing a Pennsylvania meetup, Rhonda, on October 3rd, but tickets are sold out. If you're interested in going, just message me, and again, I'll put anybody on the cancellation list. Boomer Babe, yeah, I would run items, absolutely run items 2 or 3 times. Bundle them. Once you hit a limit, you should have the majority, I would say, 95% of the items in your inventory should have a deadline. That deadline is, okay, if it doesn't sell by this date, what decision am I going to make? Am I going to donate it? Am I going to discount it deeply and get it out so that I can recoup some money and move on? Am I going to put it on another type of selling app? There should be something that you're doing to get rid of it, to move it, to create space for something that's going to sell better than that item and to produce cash flow. Speaking of cash flow, this is the number one reason businesses fail. not just Whatnot businesses, even all businesses. The Small Business Administration quotes this. They've done studies on it, and it's highly vital for Whatnot. People confuse sales with profit. They confuse cash flow with actually being a profitable business. Just because you're pulling money out of Whatnot does not mean you made a dime. Does not mean that you were profitable. What you pull out of Whatnot and what your net profit are two different things. What you're pulling out of Whatnot is just cash flow. That's just money moving in your business. It's not profitability. So understanding that, and let's go back. You can't understand that if you're not doing one of those other things on the list, knowing your numbers and keeping track of your numbers.
Lucy Goosey, that is not our art. We're featuring an artist in every talk show. So this today is Wild Heart Studio, and she's an amazing artist. Monday was Tiny the artist, and a couple of like a week or so ago, we featured the Serial Harvest. I love this Serial Harvest. He's also a great artist. It's a couple. This is Wild Heart Studio, and she's awesome too.
And we'll tag her again, so anybody who likes the art can go see it there on her
Yes,
site.
all these pieces are for sale.
His and Her Chicago shop puts it very eloquently. It's not budgeting and being overextended that kills sellers. If you're cash poor as a reseller, you're dead. That's not knowing, not having your cash flow. So hold on, let me take a step back to make sure that we're saying the same thing. When you sell something on Whatnot, you do a show, they take the fees out, blah, blah, you have some money you can pull out. That's cash flow. You need cash flow to survive. That's a vital part of your business. You need that to keep going, because if you don't have cash, you can't pay any of the bills. You can't buy more inventory. Cash flow is a vital part of your business, but that's not profit. In addition to cash flow, just as vital as that cash flow is the profitability side. Now, you could show a loss for a while, but ultimately we're here to make money, not just to provide cash flow. We're here to have a profit. So you have to have both ends of that. So understanding your numbers to know that my items are selling high enough. I'm not spending too much on inventory. There's a good spread between what I'm buying it for and what I'm selling it for. I have my expenses under control. I understand which product lines are selling for me and which ones aren't, which ones are making the money. Where should I focus my efforts based on my numbers? And how all that leads down to net profit is just as vital as your cash flow. You need both. The problem occurs when people assume that just because they're pulling money out of Whatnot and they have cash flow, that they're doing good in business. Having cash flow and being a successful business are not the same thing. It just means that you have cash. And just because you have cash doesn't mean you make profit.
Vintage Farm Girl.
That's it right there. Yep.
Vintage Farm Girl. We have a Shopify, and we haven't connected it yet. I am not sure.
I connected it.
You connected. Well, but I'm not sure if what she sells, we upload it into Shopify. I think the quantities, if you have multiple quantities of one item, it might help you with the Shopify. I don't know if with the vintage that she sells, since it's unique items, I don't know if that would be a good idea to upload everything on Shopify just to list it on Whatnot. So we haven't tested it out yet.
And a couple people are making the point about the cash flow and the profit here. So this is really great. Different ways of saying it. So we say it a bunch of different ways. It's going to hit somebody, somebody's going to be able to absorb it. So His and Her Chicago shop says, if you're a 6-figure seller and a 7-figure buyer, you're broke. And I love that, because there are so many people who come on this app and say they try to explain their expertise by saying, I'm a 6-figure seller on Whatnot. So am I. So what? That tells me nothing. That doesn't tell me if you're profitable. It doesn't tell me if you're making good use of your money at all. So absolutely good point. And then Liz says, stay-at-home shop. I love that. Thank you. Honey, can you note that? Liz says, if the money you make on Whatnot is used to buy more inventory, that money is not profit. It's just cash flow. Profit's the money that your business doesn't need. Profit's what's left over at the end of the day. The Vintage Flair. I've been selling for 2 years on here, full time for a year. I've learned so. Oh, thank you so much, Vintage Flair. That's so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Multiple revenue streams, sell t-shirts, create a service, and sell your stuff. I cannot speak enough about having multiple revenue streams, whether it be multiple different product lines, like t-shirts, vintage decor, if you're doing vintage and jewelry, different avenues, if you're doing different apps, if you're doing Whatnot and eBay. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I know there's other people who say, put your eggs in one basket and watch that basket like a hawk. If that basket catches on fire, that basket's still going to catch on fire. It doesn't matter how well you watch it. Don't ever put all of your efforts into just one thing. Have a little diversification. Now, it could be diversification on Whatnot. What happens, and we're not getting political, but if things change in the world and people don't want to buy vintage decor anymore because they need their money to go buy eggs and milk, you're screwed. So maybe you should have some other type of business that supports what people might need. So just don't put all your eggs in one basket. Think about ways that you can diversify and have various revenue streams. So it allows you that flexibility to pivot as necessary based on external factors that you can't control.
Stay Home Shop. Thank you for the tip. If you notice, there's the profile logo right there on the right side of the picture.
No, wrong way. This way. I always get it backwards.
Correct. And then at the end of the scroll, you can see the logo bigger, so you know that the art is that. So we're featuring every show a new artist, and I'm gonna put the logo in the same place every time.
All right, I'm going to do these last two questions, and then I do have to go because I have to get to the 9 to 5 today at some point. What is your favorite program to track your sales and profits? I use Excel. I don't recommend any program. I only recommend what's going to work for you. So there's some great ones out there. The top two are Reseller Genie and QuickBooks, but you can use a pencil and paper. You can use Excel. You can use whatever you're going to use on a consistent basis. That's the best program. And then does it hurt? Almost a Farm, Tennessee. Does it hurt to do clothing and vintages? I don't know. Why would it? I don't think so. And there goes his and her Chicago shop. We sell on multiple platforms, and we offer a service to do appraisals. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Now, if you're just starting on Whatnot, do this a bit, get your bearings, and then start looking at other opportunities. You will notice if you've been around me for at least a year, I have different products coming and going. I'm constantly trying out different things. Some things stick. Other things I'm like, this isn't a huge interest. We're going to try something else. So don't ever stop innovating as your business, trying new things, and always searching for good opportunities. Just make sure that when you're doing that, you're making those decisions based on an overall plan, that you're still heading in the direction that you want to head in and not just going off so many rabbit trails that you're getting yourself distracted. Will I use my expenses in your personal taxes? You absolutely will. Wild Heart Studio, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Almost a Farm, thank you. You are very welcome. You did wonderful. Congratulations. I thought you were doing really good. Do you have a written system that help you with the inventory as a whole and not per item? I just use a spreadsheet. So I do it on averages. I keep track of the total dollar I buy, the total number of items that come in and go out. And that's how I keep my inventory. And then I do my cost of goods. But I don't have, I do have right here, let me tell you really quick, I have tips and tricks and ways to track inventory. So there are, in this library here, there's 31 different PDFs, Excel sheets, plus all my show notes for my Friday shows. And within that, there are a couple that address inventory specifically. And you get access to everything.
So, guys, right there on the chat, Wild Heart Studio, that's the artist. And she is in I believe it's Mountain Time. She got up this morning, early in the morning, just to be in the show.
Thank you, Wild Heart Studio.
And she works overnight. So kudos.
Yes.
Go pay her a visit. So
before we close, if you like any of the art you saw behind us, Wild Heart Studio right there, she's been tagged a couple of times. Go check her out. Go to her shows. You can buy this art, all handmade. Come back next Monday to see another handmade artist featured. We're going to keep doing this every Monday and Wednesday as long as they keep sending us their pictures to display behind me. With that, we're going to go raid. Thank you all for being here. Honey, you're going to find somebody to raid? Well, we're going to try to raid. I don't know if it's going to work. we're going to try. We'll let you know who we're going to. So who are we going to? We're going to go see Green 13. So Jeremy at Green 13. If it works, it works. If not, have a wonderful day. Thank you all for being here. Next time I'm going to be back is Friday. We're going to be talking about fourth quarter on Friday. So we're going to be talking about getting ready for it, not the burnout side, but what can we do for fourth quarter?
Okay, I'm gonna take you to Green 13. Ask him when is his next chat show, if you're curious. So, with that, have a wonderful day, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Okay, it's not working.
All right, it's not working. We're gonna end this show. Hold on, let me try. Yep, nope.
All right, just end the show then.